Grant Chambers a dominant force up forward, Sturt has been a powerhouse attacking side, at times seemingly able to score at will. But the Double Blues have come to a crunching halt when they've met Glenelg. Against the Tigers, the Double Blues have failed to kick 10 goals in each of the past 4 meetings. And overall, the Bays have won the past 8 encounters with Sturt. Just weeks out from the finals, there's a psychological battle going on. And the issue of the minor premiership hasn't been settled either. Welcome to Grandstand Football. It's Sturt versus Glenelg.
Wonderful afternoon for football at the Unley Oval in round 21 of Grandstand Football. Sturt has won 6 matches on end, and Glenelg is on a 12-match winning streak, and they are in the top 3. And Rob Pyman, as we said, psychological value in a win.
Certainly is. Look, it should be a fantastic game, a ripper in actual fact. Second versus third. Made mentioned Sturt going for the 7th win in a row, and obviously Glenelg have been fantastic. They've only lost 2 games for the year and 1 in the last 10 matches they've played in.
Well, we'll get a look at the table a little later on, but certainly at the moment Central's on top, but it's only percentage. Glenelg can take over top position again with a victory this afternoon. So let's look at how they underwent round 12, and it was Sturt was severely exposed, I would have said, in round 12, and Glenelg really overwhelmed them under lights. In fact, it was the last match for the season under lights at the Adelaide Oval because of the reconstruction that you'll see on the far side of the ground there, the western side of the ground.
Well, Glenelg certainly do play well at night. I've seen them on several occasions play well, and I think Adelaide Oval in particular and playing at night suits Glenelg. They don't have a lot of high-marking players, and particularly when the maybe dewy in the middle of winter, the ball's on the ground. They've got a lot of midfielders who work both ends of the ground, and certainly they are very highly ranked in terms of their defence and didn't allow Sturt at all any opportunities to score on, hence the massive win for Glenelg.
Well, the Tigers had a really, really poor outing. As I said, the last time they lost a game was at the Adelaide Oval on Anzac Day, and this was their next match after that game at the Adelaide Oval. They certainly resurrected their reputation. They led by just 14 points at quarter time, but by half time they were out by 37 points. And at three-quarter time it was 47 points. Sturt just never at any stage managed to get their game going. Ty Allen for the Tigers had 24 possessions, just the 1 mark, to emphasise that point you said about marks. And John Hinge, particularly important for them up front, with 18 possessions, 5 marks and 3 goals, 3.
Well, Hinge obviously out with injury. Certainly a lot of goal-scoring, I suppose, opportunities will heavily be looking at Rory Kirkby today. Todd Greimer out with a broken wrist as well.
So we look at that final score. Glenelg very comfortably, and interestingly, Sturt, for all their goal-kicking power, have not been able to kick 10 goals or more against the Tigers in their last 4 encounters. Well, that's what they're up against this afternoon again. Let's turn to the start of this round 21 of Grandstand SANFL football, and it was under lights at the Parade on Friday night. Norwood against North Adelaide, a vital match for the Roosters because they only hold down, before this match, they only held down 5th place by 1 point from a fast finishing Westies.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, North Adelaide had to win this game. This was crucial to their finals aspirations. It's crucial for them to lock in that 5th spot. Haven't quite got it at the moment. West Adelaide certainly can mathematically make the 5, but North Adelaide, I was more impressed with the way they went about it. I think the coach said during the week that he wanted the players to be more direct, move the ball more quickly. The coach certainly loosened up training during the week, and it showed on the scoreboard. They kicked far greater amount of goals than what they have in the previous weeks.
Well, Daniel Healy, as we know, taking over with a central style, if you like, game plan, more AFL maybe orientated game plan for North Adelaide this season, and they have failed on occasion to really deliver in the forward lines, but obviously on Friday night they found a way forward consistently and effectively.
Well, they certainly have a number of marking options. Clinton Alloway, as you can see on screen there, he certainly is a powerhouse up forward. Sturt finished with 4 goals, Alloway 3. Clark played very well. You can see him running through the midfield and off the half-back line. That's what North Adelaide need if they're going to be, I suppose, or if they're going to win any finals games if they get there.
Lots of things were expected of Norwood this season. They haven't quite delivered. It was an 8-goal third quarter from North Adelaide that was the key to this match. And in the end, it was a very, very comfortable victory. They led by 62 points at three-quarter time, and they won by that margin. 18-12, 120 to Norwood's 8-10-58. And you see there Daniel Sturt kicking 4 goals for the Roosters. So we can look forward to plenty of action in the coming weeks from this man and this man's team, Central District. Roy Laird having a look at probably his 2 fiercest rivals for the premiership this year in Glenelg and Sturt this afternoon. The Central's outfit was, well, it just fashioned a victory yesterday again over South Adelaide, hammered them to be sure by 79 points. We'll have the full highlights of that clash out at Elizabeth yesterday, coming up at quarter time.
It's no more than a training run really for Centrals. They certainly played very well. Good confidence boost for them coming into the finals.
Now you'll note there the other match this afternoon, we'll keep you posted with the scores. Eagles against West Adelaide. Westies, if they upset the Eagles again, will be 1 point behind North Adelaide, and they play the Roosters next weekend in round 22 action. Quickly to the ladder now, we'll see the importance of the matches that are coming up with Central's, Glenelg and Sturt locked in a battle there for those top 3 places and the order. The Eagles and North are next up. Eagles are safe in 4th spot. North are under pressure from West Adelaide.
Well, it certainly is an interesting position coming to the pointy end of the season. 4th, 5th and 6th really up for grabs at this point in time. Top 3 locked in.
On to the goal kickers, and certainly things are set in stone there. Brant Chambers is going to win yet another of the goal-kicking awards, the Ken Farmer Medal. There's no doubt about that. He's going to streak away. The question is, can he get through the finals to those 100 goals for the 3rd season running?
Well, he's just been such a consistent performer over the last 5 years. He will really need a good finals campaign and play probably until the grand final to get to that magical 100 mark, but he's been a fantastic contributor for the Sturt Footy Club.
We mentioned the importance of the next few weeks in terms of the order of that top 3. Sturt, of course, starting with the Tigers this afternoon, then Centrals they'll be tested by next week, and they'll finish the season down at Alberton against Port Adelaide, while Glenelg, on the other hand, well, they'll have Sturt this afternoon, then they'll move to play the Eagles down at Brighton Road, and then Westies to finish with, which, again, that could be crucial both for Westies and Glenelg.
There's no doubt about that. I think Westies' season won't finish until round 23, and it may go even longer than round 23, who knows.
We go down to Mark Soderstrom on the boundary. I'll start with Sturt Soders, and for Jack Tringove, the school bell has rung.
Yes, it has. A situation we have come across over the years with league football. If a player's still at school, he's at a private college, generally the school has rights to the player. So Sturt have negotiated with his school, PAC, Prince Alfred College, to let him play most of the year. They did have a game yesterday against Saints. It's their big inter-col grudge game, and there was an agreement between the club and the school to let Jack go back and captain PAC against Saints. Now, the good news was for Jack that his boys did get up by 5 goals, so worth him going back. Apparently, he played reasonably well, but the star of the day was Luke Tapscott from North Adelaide, so a young man who's also played some league football. So good to see Jack Tringove there. Be back for Sturt next week. In the reserves, James McClay had a run around coming back from a broken ankle there. He looks pretty good, gave us the thumbs up there, and just icing, that's just a precaution. Don't worry, Sturt supporters. He's okay and probably could work his way back into the side. Interestingly too, just in that intercol game we talked about between St Peters and also PAC, James McClay's younger brother, Jock McClay, played for Saints and looked pretty good. So good news for Sturt there. Another McClay probably looking like they can come in. Scotty McGlone plays his 100th game as Sturt try and find out a way to beat Glenelg for the first time since 2007.
Oh, look, I think they've got fantastic midfield and got plenty of rotations through their midfield, and they're very strong. So I think it's a matter of fact of just winning the contested ball. If we can win the contested ball and get the ball in our hands, and I think that'll go a long way to us having a win.
Trevor Cranston's been massive for them this year, but Angus Kurtz has shaped up pretty well against him both times.
Yeah, look, we know that Trevor's a fantastic ruckman, the best in the competition. So we'll probably have short changes on him today and try and work him over.
Well, if we have a look at the Sturt lineup, Coach said game will be won or lost in the midfield. I tend to agree. Sheedy, Bratton, McGlone, Nelson, Crane and Gum and the likes will certainly need to gather plenty of possessions if Sturt are to win today.
And so does the Tigers have a late change as well.
Pretty significant one too. Adam Fisher out of the side, popped a finger at training on Wednesday night. So some problems there. Glenelg just being cautious with him, so he's going to sit out today. Should be back to play against the Eagles next week. So Adam Fisher out. Robert Plant comes in to play for Glenelg, and will play against his brother James, who's lining up for Sturt. Todd Grime has been missing with a broken wrist. Just had a chance to speak with him. He'll have the plaster off on Tuesday and is hopeful to play in round 23 against West Adelaide. Johnny Hinge, broken ankle. More than likely the club thinks he's going to miss finals, so a blow for Johnny Hinge there. And good to see Mark Ruwalt's worked his way back in the side, probably squeezed out of the Tigers lineup recently with their influx of AFL talent. So good to see Ruwalt, one of the fittest players at the club, back on the park.
If we have a look at the Glenelg lineup, they are such an even team. They get such an even contribution right across the ground. Their midfield work very hard, forwards and back. Look for the matchup, Mills on Chambers. Keep an eye on that one today. It should be a fantastic matchup.
And Benny Mills, the Tigers captain, tossing the coin with Jade Sheedy from Sturt. And it was a call, I think, by Benny Mills, and he has won the toss, and really not surprising, so this is kicking to right of screen, the southern end of the ground, favoured by a fair old breeze. How many goals?
Yeah, reasonably stiff, the breeze at the moment, probably worth a couple of goals. Has sort of died down in the reserves and come back up, so we would expect that advantage to stay there for most of the day. The sun has been out around about 20 degrees, does feel a little bit warmer than that, so it's going to be probably reasonably tough for the players. Great for the supporters, good crowd in too. Over the past year or so, this game, the Glenelg Sturt game, has pulled some big crowds, and the same again here at Sturt. They're all packed into Unley Oval.
Might have noticed the big banner for Scott McGlone coming onto the ground in his 100th game of SANFL football. That reference there is all we can find to Chris Hall, though, who's playing his 100th game also for the Glenelg Football Club this afternoon. And as we can see, a fair old crowd here in at Unley. I think there might be a few latecomers as well. Still to maybe pick it up to about 5,000 or thereabouts.
It's a fantastic day for footy. Slight breeze, but second versus third. And for me, I still think Glenelg might have the edge on them. Certainly have from a psychological aspect. The question is, have they got the scoring power to kick enough goals today? Sturt, they really do need to beat Glenelg for their confidence coming into the finals.
Well, again, the last 4 matches between these two clubs, Sturt has failed to kick 10 goals or more.
Certainly is a worry, isn't it? Particularly when you've got the leading goal kickers. To me, that says that the midfield are not working hard enough and not getting enough of the ball quickly enough into the forward line. Glenelg are very good at pushing back numbers and clogging up space for Chambers.
Just about set for a start here at Unley on Sunday afternoon grandstand football. It's welcome to Michael Maney.
Looking forward to this one, Neil, and have been for a little while. Good to see ABC television on Sunday. Umpires Pfeiffer, Day and Ralston. They've got the job ahead of them. Let's hope they can be inconspicuous today. Here we go. Trevor Cranston, Jake Bowen. High bounce. The umpire says, I don't think that's fair. I'm going to bring it back and throw it up. So that bounce get plenty of elevation and drifted away. What a game it is. Notice Herring on Kirk and Mills on Chambers. And Chambers in the last 2 games against Glenelg, he's had 1 kick and 2 handballs. So hasn't had too much of a time of it. And he'll be looking to turn that around. Out of the centre, Cabillo. Just fed it back. Code. Looking for McGlone, the 100-gamer. Just fed it nicely to Sheedy. Tried to get it back to McGlone. Cabillo overran it. Block's got it. Kicks inside 50. High. Getting back. Button can't take the mark. Well done, Avery. Did so well to the run of Bowen. On the grandstand side, Bowen just waits and then just kicks a real helicopter looking for Herring. Kirk got a finger on it. Couldn't get it. Murphy, who's been pretty good for them this year. Good looping handball. He was dealt with after. Downfield it went. Mules from back wall to Ruwalt, the hard runner. Kicks long. It's a 2-on-1. Ball thumped away. Fiddick back from an ankle injury. Lee Belt, number 22 for Glenelg. McGlone just spins it back to Fiddick and then back it goes to Code. So a ball going at 1,000,000 miles an hour as Bode takes the mark at half back.
It's good from the double blues. They wanted the corridor. They'll get it again with Nelson. Just slowing things down. Again, they find space in the corridor. McGlone now off half-back. Comes wide for Bratton. Misses him awfully. Bratton with a chance. Ruwalt just tries to corral him. Kick was a bit high. Well taken by Kirk. And now they'll come off half-back. Glenelg looking for Kirkby, the lead-up man. Did that come off the foot? No. So it's out of bounds in the interchange area. Round and round we go, but no score on the clock. 2 minutes. Sodas.
On the bench there for Glenelg, Justin McConnell on the left there, coming off 6 goals against North Adelaide. Joshy Willoughby and Robert Plant in for the injured Adam Fisher.
Allen met solidly. Cubillo working it with Crane. Interesting hand pass into the space of Sheedy, who was over the line when Rewalt took him down, or Rewalt, I should say, took him down. And we'll get another ball in. So McGlone's had plenty of it early.
Interesting to note, they've got McGlone and Nelson, 2 very experienced players across their half-back line. Code as well as playing at centre half-back. So obviously Sturt going against the breeze in this first quarter, is looking to load up their back line and looking to get plenty of run from their half-back flanker types.
Free kick in the ruck goes to Bowen, who started off in the centre square. The lead-up player is Herring. This bloke is super important for the Sturt Footy Club. Provides an avenue to goal for Chambers. The kick to Johncock, who's also been terrific for them this year. Jeremy Johncock, long way out from goal. Just waiting on it. Glenelg very good at the press and manning up, and so he's forced to go back to McGlone, who's had a few touches in his 100th, and then Bode, still in the centre. Punches a long kick. They're going to fly. The front Cubillo couldn't quite mark, and it dribbles out. Let's go to the Sturt bench down there, and the big fella mark.
Yes, Big Angus Kirk's just getting a bit of work on the back there. Luke Norman said they'll work very quickly in tandem, he and Jake Bowen, to try and cover Cranston. Also on the bench for the Double Blues, Craig Evans and Matty Payne.
So it's at half forward for the Double Blues, and that might be in the back. Umpire said no. Come in and throw the ball up. Then Kane, the man being tackled, did he drop the knees? That's what the umpire thought. So Johncock involved in the ruck there, and now Allen, who just throws off one, managed to get the ball away somehow. Hall, the other 100 gamer this afternoon, scrambled the ball to half forward. Nelson couldn't get it. Umpire calls play on, and eventually over the boundary again. Let's just have another look. Crane just being bucked off by Allen. Here's Nelson, willing to take players on, caught by Murphy, another hard nut.
You can certainly see Sturt players wanting to take on Glenelg players. Nelson had an opportunity to get rid of the ball, tried to shrug the tackle. In the AFL, that'll be called holding the ball.
High tackle will come back. Cubillo will take it for the Double Blues. Crane has streaked away into a bit of space. Block is his man this afternoon. He's in the centre of play. Cubillo, meanwhile, just drops it in short again. Bode the lead up. No runners available. He wanted to hand it off. Still looking for a lead up target. And he goes back into the corridor. It was touched off the boot. Lux of Fortune, Johncock. And then Fiddick tried to be too cute with a kick, blocked though. Effective long, and Kirkby read it well.
You can see there 2 mistakes by Sturt, both occasions kicking into the man on the mark, or an oncoming player. As a result, Glenelg certainly quick enough to be able to spot up Kirkby, who read the play well and just sucked off his player and ran forward.
Rory Kirkby with 30 goals, 20 for the season, adds a minor score. The first of the afternoon. It's taken a while. 5 minutes and 45 seconds into the match, and Glenelg lead by that 1 point.
They rely heavily on Kirkby today to kick goals for him. They've pushed Button forward, which isn't a bad move, but obviously with Todd Grimer out of the team with injury, Hinge, another known goal kicker, he's been out of the side for a while now.
Nick Walk from half-back. Good punching kick, and all Double Blues here. Plant, as in the James variety for Sturt. He's kicked a few goals of recent times, James Plant. He's birded 9-5 in the season. He's obviously not going to have a shot from there. But he's got a good piece of this to a big pack in front. That's where you need to be. Johncock did the rove, and ball caught underneath again. So, yeah, Kirkby pretty important. Yeah, Rob, you're going to say something.
Well, it's certainly hard to pick which way they're going at the moment in terms of the way Sturt are going about it. They're either trying to slow the play down, considering they're kicking into the wind, or is it due to the fact that Glenelg are so good at pushing numbers back?
Combination of both, I reckon. Herring to Sheedy, and this is okay to Gum. He's about 55-60 from goal. Does the squaring up. Chambers can't take the mark. Mills right with him. Wearing like a glove. John Cock won the footy beautifully. Crane off a step. Mills is there, and the diving mark by Mills. Not paid. He's composed enough, Mills, to get to his feet and then feed a pass out to Allen. Gee, that was well done by Mills. Ruwalt just delays the handball. Kane, his first touch. Back to Meyer. Meyer goes long. Kirkby trying to use the body. Well done, Avery. Improving player. Code, his collect was outstanding. And they've got some runners on the outer side. And Payne is the man with the footy.
Wants to go again back into the corridor. This is Sturt's way. Just being a little bit corralled again. Code with a dangerous hand pass. Turned over immediately. Liebelt with the hand pass, and then Kirkby in the forward line, a two-grabber, play on, Walk takes it, Pinozzo's on him straight away, and the umpire, Tony Day, comes in to ball it up, 48 metres from the Glenelg goal.
Great tackle here. Beautiful tackle. Kept his feet.
And that's holding the ball against Murphy. So he'll surrender it to the big man in Jake Bowen. Bowen will have a glance to this side purely for cosmetic purposes, because I think he was always going to keep the ball down the far side of the ground. So Sturt again. They've been very methodical, not wanting to give up the ball with a long kick. Payne forced into the long kick. Ball will sit up. At the front was Plant. Liebelt was in there as well briefly, and will get a ball up eventually.
Well, talking of cosmetic, Sodas, you're down on the boundary line there, mate. What is that breeze doing? It certainly looks like Sturt are having trouble kicking the ball into the wind.
Yeah, very strong pies. Probably since the start of the game, it's picked up a fair bit. We can see players really struggling to work into it. So interesting to see Michael Code. He's got the ball here. Last year when they played at the Bay, Rick McGowan had him play in defence when they were going against the wind, and they put him up forward when they went with the wind. So interesting to see if Luke Norman will try and do the same thing with Code.
Yeah, I can remember that. Here's McGlone, got it from Evans, and then speared it looking for Herring. Oh, he judged it so well. Kirk just lost sight of the footy, was very much aware of where Herring was, and then lost sight of the footy, and Herring just judged it nicely. In close, short, looking for Chambers, and Hall had to feed it back, so Mills, just a wobbly old ball, finds Kirk. He could have made something of that, Sturt, but Kirk decides to punch it to a contest. Murphy work Code under the ball. Now there's a foot race. Payne's got a bit of toe, I've got to say. He outruns Murphy. Here comes Nelson. Mr. Experience. Hugs the line. Oh, reaching over the top was Hall. Couldn't take the mark. Evans. All those left footers. They'll get you every time, and he gave it up. Ruwalt over the top. Backwell. Just needs to secure the footy and hit a target. He's dealt with. He found Dolding on the lead. But it looks like Bode is in a bit of trouble here, and so too is Backwell.
Yep, certainly Backwell knew the player was coming. I'm not quite sure if it was a free kick. The Sturt player didn't have any other option other than to collide into Backwell. Backwell made the kick anyway. It was a beautiful lace-out pass. Doldig was going to take the mark regardless.
Had a bend in him there for a second, Backwell. Here's Doldig, who kicks the goal. So the Bays get there first, and kicking with that strong breeze, Rob, it's taken them 11 precious minutes to get it.
It has. Glenelg showing their intent early, wanting to handball the ball through the corridor. Backwell made sure that the umpire saw that Bode definitely gave away a free kick there. Made it look worse than it was. May well have hurt Backwell, but Backwell's a pretty tough guy. Glenelg trying to handball the ball from half back through the corridor so they can get the ball deep into the forward line.
Backwell, a JJ Liston trophy winner as well as a McGarry medalist. The umpires do notice him. Here he is again, taken down in the tackle, and this time we'll get a ball up.
Not surprising, we're talking about Glenelg handballing the ball a lot. They're ranked #1 in the competition in terms of handball.
They belted forward. Gum with a nice take, fed it back to Nelson, who immediately went wide. He had runners. Yench decided to stop. The umpire called him to play on. Pinozzo crowds him. He was good enough to get it to Bode. His arms were taken, and in fact, that'll be 25 metres as well. Well, the umpire's saying it was late, but I thought it was all pretty much in the same action from Cranston. Meanwhile, Sturt play on. They get a mark inside 50 to Payne, and umpire Tim Feifel will set the mark. And what was different about that? Was that late as well?
Well, it was rather ironic. One was paid, one wasn't. I think the only difference being that one umpire felt sorry for Trevor Campson, otherwise he would have had 2 25s paid against him within 20 seconds.
Wasn't much in the second one either, but anyway, Payne lines up for goal. It'd be a valuable one into the breeze. That's a valuable mark by Plant. And Michael mentioned before that he has kicked a few goals this season and was way out on his first kick, but this time he's every chance to score a goal. And I can tell you, he did at one stage this season kick 4 in a game. 4 goals in 2 quarters against the Eagles, and he snuck that one through. Tell you what, it had a huge bend on it because of the breeze, but at the right time it was between the 2 big white posts. So Sturt get one back into the breeze and they trail by a point.
Well, young Plant, he's well, I shouldn't say young, he's 27 years of age, but he hasn't played a lot of football, 20 games. You can see the effect that this wind is having on players. He really punched that kick, really did just sneak it through. Looked like the ball went through the points, but it obviously went through the major sticks from where the goal umpire was sitting or standing.
Backwell with his head over the football, you'd expect that. And a free coming back to Ruwalt. I'll tell you what, Rob, when you're 48, 27 is pretty young, you know. Here goes Ruwalt, inside 50. Ball flicks over the back. Kirkby in good position, but that wind really just kicking that footy across. It'll be a boundary throw in. There's Luke Crane getting some work done down there. Mark, looks like a bit of a groin problem to the Magarey medalist.
Little tender there, just in the groin there. But look, he came off, said he was a bit sore. They're going to just check that out at the moment. But he runs all day, so hopefully that won't curb him too much.
Kurtz looks for Cabillo, and another stalemate. So, how have you seen the game so far, Rob? Or you got something else?
Just while Plant was kicking that goal, interesting to note what Glenelg are doing. Kirk came off the ground. Cranston came off the ground. He was in the ruck. McConnell goes to full forward, and then Button pushes on ball to play as that ruckman. So they changed tools and smalls, which may have an effect on how Sturt line up in that defensive 50.
Yeah, and you think they might just go long and then use McConnell as the crummer because he's very good in that role. Kirkby in front doing the ruck work. Panozzo took them on. Robert Plant. Back to Hall. Hall's got a good leg. McGlone's going to have to keep his eye on the footy here. Dropped it. Avery, risky handball to Code, but he kept it in. That was good play. This bloke is a real good, solid contributor. A number of bounces at half back, and he's holding on to it because he doesn't have anyone to kick to. So he's hugging the line, and that's not a bad effort by Code in the end. Had nowhere to go. And he just kept running, and the crowd really appreciate that smart footy from number 18.
Spot on there, Michael. He had nothing to kick. There was 3 or 4 Glenelg plays, and actually get away with that, handballing the ball out without the umpire giving away a free kick. Very clever.
Allen, slick, block, kick smothered, right in front of the Jack Odie grandstand and the Sturt fans, and they're up in arms. They've got a free kick through Fedek. So he looks down the line. John Cock comes on the lead. And he spots him up. No, he doesn't. Just faded in the breeze. Out of bounds on the full. Danny Meyer to take the free kick for the Bays. Roy Laird, an interested spectator this afternoon, and that kick from Meyer will go close to out of bounds as well. It stayed in twice on the bounce. Allen with the tackle. Experience from Ben Nelson. He knew the line was there and he wanted to use it.
Well, the SANFL players are certainly confident in taking the ball over. You can see a B-grade bounce there from McGlone. Nelson, no hesitation taking the ball over. AFL, that'll be paid as a free kick.
Kirkby and Walk, and there was little doubt about where that was going as well. He wanted the boundary, he found it, and the umpire said, throw it in, boys. We're playing SANFL football on grandstand this afternoon.
The SANFL players and the Sturt players are well drilled. Boundary line is your best friend.
I can safely say that's Chris and James Gowans down there. They'll try and get me to pick out which one's which. Forget it. And I've been doing this for about 8 years. Here's Sheedy over the top. John Cock. Quick hands. Fiddick and away to Cabillo, who just got a high wobbling ball, but Herring was good enough to keep his eye on it. Important display. Chambers on the lead. The kick's just at the over the top. Now Chambers has got to do some work here. Spins around, gives it off. That's okay to Yench. Then back to Gum. Gum from 47. Good long kick. The breeze just takes it away, but the mark's taken by Payne. Matthew Payne. Oh, played on too. But the umpire said I'd blown time off. Lucky break for Matthew Payne. This is pretty awkward from here. But players are so skilled these days. Left footer, goal! What a kick! Well, he thought about it. And the left footer was the answer. And the double blues hit the lead.
Well, if you're a Glenelg supporter, you'd be questioning why the umpire did blow time on there, because Payne, beautiful mark. He read the ball very well. Mules just caught out of position, but Payne was virtually on the mark. He hadn't ran around or anything, so there was no real reason for the umpire to call time on. But having said that, good luck for Payne. Finished off with a nice little left footer.
The umpires, they will always blow time off in order to set that angle. Payne took advantage of it. Kane, meanwhile, out of the middle, long kick. McConnell, the target, one out opposed to Nelson. Too strong was Nelson. Dangerous hand pass. Coach said, let's get out of this one.
Is that 3 points?
I hope not. I hope we don't introduce that. No doubt what was in Code's mind, though. Very quickly, just soccer it through, start again.
Fiddick's wobbly old kick, got a bounce this time, kept it in the field of play, but it went to Panozzo. Panozzo's got Willoughby in short, and that's just a 15. Willoughby said, I've got to get going here. We haven't kicked a goal for a while. Here's Murphy. Murphy quick hands to Kane. Kane back in board, looking for Murphy. Murphy's got to crash through. Handball over the top. Doldig needs to get involved. He does. The walk tackle's just brilliant. The umpire will reward Nick Walk for a sensational tackle. He had Doldig cold there, and Sturt got runners on the outer side. Bode's one of them, and he's about to get it from Sheedy. A hush around the ground as Code gets it from Sheedy and punches it low. Herring's the target. Button got a fingernail on it. Kirk, stolen by McGlone. Crane is okay, running on top of the ground to Evans. Evans's kick is high and floating, and in front Adlington did so well in front of Gum, and Adlington's got them queuing up on the wing.
McGlone will come late for Sturt. That ball just sat up, and now McGlone's given away a free kick, has he, for knocking down Panozzo? No, says Tony Day. I don't know why Tony Day pulled the whole game up. As we see McGlone, gee, read that, and the ball sat up, and he came and knocked it out of bounds. Plenty of spirit in this game. Don't worry about it.
Autumn leave.
Backwell with a great intercept off the ball. Crane knocked over by that man, Panozzo again. Things heating up. A free kick goes to the Magarey medalist Crane, who wants the players to lead into the pocket, and that's why. Magnificent kick, finds Yench around quickly, sets it up 20 from goal. Sturt with numbers, but the tall player takes down the mark in Button, and he's got a couple of chip options out. One of them is Skipper and Mules. Nothing much for Mules to kick to unless Kirkby comes on a long lead. He does, and then Mules hesitates and decides to go over the top looking for Kirkby, opposed to a lot. A big pack forms. Block almost had it. Walk does. He's crowded and tackled, and the umpire said mine.
Plenty of feeling in this game. Sturt are up and about, having a lot of ball in the first quarter compared to Glenelg. 81 possessions to 47. Having far more of the ball, working a lot harder under the packs of Sturt.
Crane's wobbly kick is fortuitous and marked by Evans, who wants desperately to get it to Bratton. Bratton wants his right boot, and that is a very good kick by Bratton, but Plant can't get on the end of it. He paddles in front. Mules is right there with him. Thought he impeded him for a moment. Plant just kept at it. Did he get a push in the back? The umpire said no, and now the ball jars loose, and the umpire blows his whistle.
Predicted what was going to happen, but it didn't happen. The umpire blew the whistle just about there as the ball bounces free.
John Cock down. Adlington was there. Ruwalt got it back to Meyer. Meyer delays the kick down the line. Kirkby's got it back in. Well done by Avery. He may just get it again. He thought the umpire had blown his whistle there for a second, I think. Bowen, back to Avery. They're working quick with the hands. Sturt. Then Code goes short. Oh, found a bit of grass. And back will collared by Bowen. Good enough to get it to Kane. Kane's a right footer. He sits it up long. McConnell's the target in front of Nelson. Oh, he went to ground too easily, McConnell. And Nelson just a bit of pressure there. And McConnell just bent at the knees and hit the deck. It'll be a boundary throw in.
Well, Nelson seems to be that swing player who in the back line will match up on McConnell when they go a smaller option. Did very well to get his fist in there.
Well, that was pace that I didn't know Ben Nelson had, and I'm sure he was a little bit stunned himself. Sheedy tried to break the pack. Fiddick was good. They've got runners. McGlone doesn't have anything on the wing to kick to. He's got to go over the top and hope for Bratton. Gee, that was a good kick. Bratton ran onto it. McGlone's running on, looking for the one over the top. And Bratton hesitates. In the middle, they've got runners as well. Bratton still hesitates. Umpire lets him go. Down the line, great kick. Decision-making has been excellent from Sturt just at the moment. Gum waits. Dummy lead by Chambers, and so that forces him to go back. Bratton directs it towards John Cock. Well, they're just popping up for Sturt, aren't they?
It was an interesting play by Bratton. He knew what he was doing. McGlone was free, kept running, ignored that option, found Gum. Gum got himself into a little bit of trouble, but good strong running by Bratton. He backed up, got the handball, and there was an enormous amount of space for John Cock to run into.
Jeremy John Cock. His record is 17-14 coming into this match. He'll have to punch this hard. We know the breeze is in his face. He punches hard. The ball will go away to the right, but it'll sneak through for the minor score. I was about to say it'll sneak through for the goal. Just for the minor score for the Double Blues. 2 goals, 1 on the board. Plays 1 goals, 2.
Can't believe how much improved John Cock is as a player, and saw Josh Cabillo absolutely brutally smash him a couple of years ago when he was playing for North Adelaide and broke his arm, and he's come back as a very good player. Code read it well at the back, and a scrubby old kick looking for John Cock. Quick hands. It ends up with Kane. Kane has a bounce through the middle of the ground, and then he honours the McConnell lead. Got caught under it. Now got a free kick, McConnell, and pushing against Nelson, just rested the hands on the back.
No, you had your hand right in the back.
Well, we know that if you touch a player with an open palm, regardless if it's one hand or 2 hands, the umpires have every right to call that a free kick. The free kick was definitely there. It was a poor kick coming through the midfield. Both teams are struggling. Looks to me with the wind, but it looks to me as though Glenelg is struggling more, even though they've got the wind at their back.
Take you back a couple of weeks, Central v Glenelg. Similar shot. McConnell on the siren. And he do it again. No. Is the answer?
Well, in these windy conditions, it's paramount when you're having a shot on goal or you're the kicking players to really watch that ball drop. You can see McConnell there shaking his head. Not too happy with himself. He's a skillful player, but regardless of how skillful you are, you really do need to concentrate on your cues of kicking.
McGlone, again, the ball just falling short. Double Blues have some numbers. Avery curled up in a ball, didn't want to release it. He did pretty well in the end. He was under a lot of pressure, but he was aware that the tackle was coming from Hall. So Glenelg have done well. They've trapped Sturt inside their defensive 50. Bowen, excellent play back to Code. Had to get around 2. One of them was his own man in Avery. Goes wide looking for John Cock, who protected the drop zone pretty well. Meyer maybe got a hand on it. Ball out of bounds.
It's always hard to tell early in the game when one side has the breeze at their back, and the breeze looks like it may be worth a minimum of 2, maybe up to 5, but Sturt at the moment would be extremely happy with their first quarter. They're getting the hands on the ball. They're not only outscoring Glenelg, but they're running all over them.
And at quarter time, it's Sturt by 4 points at Unley. Big crowd as before this round, first in Glenelg plays 3rd place in Sturt. Sturt 2-1-13, Glenelg 1-3-9.
Well, great quarter by Sturt. You can see they're up and about the place. They're working very hard. The midfield are certainly getting plenty of possessions. They're almost doubling Glenelg in terms of their possessions, and it was made mention in the interview between Sodas and the Sturt coach Norman that the game will be won or lost in the midfield, and Glenelg previously have had a better midfield, but not today. Sturt certainly working hard in that first quarter.
No doubt about that. We mentioned, of course, a strong breeze favouring right of screen, the southern end of the ground. Glenelg winning the toss, kicking with it. Far too often not able to take advantage. Your thought on that free kick down the ground as Doldig lined up and kicked Glenelg's only goal of the quarter.
Yeah, well, that was their only goal. And when they went forward, Glenelg, they didn't really do it with any method. Struggling to kick the ball. You can see Plant really punch that ball. That wind is certainly causing some damage in terms of the ball when it's in the air. Gum was a very good player. Kicked the ball, had the shot, but as you can see there, Payne took the mark. Lucky the umpire blew the whistle. He was on the mark, but the umpire hadn't blown the whistle. He wouldn't have finished with a goal, but nice left foot there for Sturt's second goal.
Highlights short and sharp because we've only got 3 goals, as you see there. 2-1 plays 1-3. What do you make, though, of those statistics? And the way the sides go about it, I suppose, is emphasised by the marks.
It is. It's interesting that Glenelg have more inside 50s, but you put that down to the fact that they have a strong breeze behind them. Sturt, their work rate is very high. You can see that just in their handballs and kicks, almost doubling the amount that Glenelg have had. I'm sure that Mark Micken will make mention of this at quarter time and tell his midfield that they really do need to lift their intensity, get in front of the Sturt players at stoppages and get their hands on the ball.
2 games already in round 21 of SANFL football. Of course, we know on Friday night, North Adelaide easily over Norwood at the parade. Yesterday at Elizabeth, it was Central District taking on South Adelaide. And the Panthers, with only 1 win for the season, they challenged Centrals for about a quarter, and that was it.
Well, it was nothing more than a training run for Centrals. They certainly would have got an enormous amount of confidence out of this game. It was interesting to note Roy Laird's comments after the game where he said it was one of those games hard to assess because both teams played off of each other. Having said that, Centrals kicked plenty of goals, and that is great going into the finals. South Adelaide, on the other hand, the last 2 years, it looks like they've gone backwards. They look a dispirited mob. Taking on Centrals is never easy at Elizabeth, but at the moment, there really is no structure or game plan how they're going about it, and they will either need to recruit players in the off-season if they're to move forward or invest heavily in their junior system.
Just the 1 win for the season for South Adelaide. It came in round 1. 10 points over Westies, who we know have improved markedly since then. The other thing to note about South Adelaide, you mentioned that they'll need to do some recruiting. My understanding is they've approached 4 players from the WAFL midfielders who played in the state game about possibly getting them across for next season.
Well, it is interesting, isn't it? At the start of the year, they made mention that they were not going to recruit players and that they were going to rely on their juniors and promote from within. And now they're doing a back turn on that. I suppose they really need to settle in terms of what they are actually doing, because at the moment from afar it looks like they really don't have any clear direction at all.
No doubt the Bulldogs are settled. 23-11, 149 to the Panthers, 11-470. A big win for the Bulldogs, and at least temporarily, pending the outcome of this afternoon's match, it puts the Dogs on top of the ladder, and you would say that they're only just churning along at the moment.
Yeah, they're interesting at the moment, the Bulldogs, because previously we expect them to be at the top of the ladder. Yeah. Doing it very easy. Yeah, no questions. At the moment, there's still the questions. Roy Laird's doing a good job to keep this player group together and up for such a long period of time.
Yeah, they've had some issues, no doubt, with a few injuries, but also we know that the clubs that are going to make the finals, like Centrals, do have a training load that they increase at this time of the year to taper off to the finals. So we know there's a few issues for Glenelg, or rather for Centrals. For Glenelg, they've got a few issues, and Soda's been listening in on how they'll structure up in this quarter, given they are against the breeze, Sodas.
Yes, they are, Crossy. Look, Mark Micken's not panicking. He said, look, we're not in the position we want to be, of course, but still 3 quarters to go. What they're going to do is go very small in their forward line now that they are going against that. They're going to stack some numbers into their back line to try and hold Sturt up that way. So they're hoping that that's going to do the trick a little bit there. The defensive side of the game, Mark Micken was still reasonably happy with. Praised Mark Ruwalt come back into the side. He said you just corralled players pretty well. We saw that on the members' wing here, not trying to panic too much. So he said to the boys, things are actually okay. Don't get too fussed about where we're going. Sturt have had a sensational start. Scotty McGlone's playing game number 100, and he's been terrific in the first quarter.
He has indeed. McGlone, the Echuca boy, recruited to South Adelaide Pies when you were there, played 59 games for the Panthers before deciding to move across to Unley.
Yeah, he won the best and fairest there at South Adelaide, and like a fair few of the players, they've moved on in the last few years. Had a very good first quarter. He's had 8 possessions, 4 kicks, 4 marks. It's a nice start to the game.
Absolutely. And a very nice start to the Double Blues game this afternoon. But again, you're never going to judge when the breeze is like this until we get to half-time at least.
Correct. You need to see both teams having access to the breeze, and in that quarter, Glenelg struggled. You can see there Micken scratching his head. He's got a few worries, but obviously very calm, and I suppose you can be calm in this position when they've only lost 1 of their last 10 games. So no doubt Mark Micken has said what he needs to say, and there's no point in clutching at things at the moment when he doesn't really need to. Let's wait and see how they go in the second quarter.
Of course, the other thing is that it's interesting, I thought in that quarter, I noticed several times that Brant Chambers was basically one out. They weren't seeking to put numbers back and in front of him so often, but we'll find out what their tactics are from John Simons, who's with Sodas.
Johnny, just standing out here, the breeze actually feels a lot bigger and a lot stronger than we actually thought. It hasn't been a great start with that.
No, it's pretty swirly, and Sturt are pushing the numbers back fairly well and able to run the ball out pretty cleanly. So that's something we've got to attend to, obviously, in the third quarter. Before that, we've got to control their ability to use the breeze effectively in this quarter.
I heard you're going to go a little shorter up front. What else are you going to change?
Yeah, just try and get a bit more mobile in our forward line, see if we can get a bit more run and carry through the half forward line, see if we can't put a score on the board.
Good on you, Johnny. Keep running. Get off the ground. See you, mate. Here's Michael Marnie with the second term.
You stay on there, Mark, because you look really silly out there on your own with a suit. And we're about to get going in the second term. 4-point lead to the Double Blues. Trevor Cranston, no possessions. Jake Bowen, 5 in that first term. Cranston got it down and then off the ground by Block. Hall was the flyer, but he might have been held. Code, who's had plenty of possessions in that first term, to Crane. Crane on a long lead, Herring. Kirk did pretty well to slide in, and it is out of bounds.
Yeah, Michael Code's a top ball getter on the ground. Had 9 kicks and a handball.
Yeah, been terrific for them. Another player in there is Mills, just the 1 kick, and Kurt's just 1 possession. So a couple of boys down low, but it's early days. Cranston, thought he got a little bit of it there. Cabillo just reaching over the top of Block. Was held with it, then got a little toe poke. His hand, he could have come off to Herring. Kirk's over the football. They're really in after it. Block, then fed it out to Cranston, his first real possession. Then Cranston got it again, so he's doubled his possessions in about 4 seconds. Here goes Kane. He kicks it long. Meyer in front. He'll get a free kick, Danny Meyer. And he's been pushed forward by the look of it. Meyer across the half forward as he just run into a bit of space there, Rob.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of the ball in that first quarter across the half-back line, so Mark Micken restructuring his forward line, going a lot smaller. Myers is one of those players he's pushed forward.
Cranston doesn't want to kick it. He's going to have to be forced to kick it now. Bouncing ball and a free kick. The umpire's blown his whistle at least. And the advantage is paid. And I think, is it Hall's kicked the goal?
Well, I don't mind that from the umpire. He saw a free kick. He paid the free kick. At the same time, Hall had grabbed the ball, knowing Hall is a left footer. These umpires do know their players very well. He's had a look, waited for the goal umpire to call a major, and he's called advantage. Certainly was an advantage there for Glenelg, no doubt about that.
So Glenelg take a 2-point lead. The goals scoring to the non-scoring end at the moment seems to be the way to go. If you've just joined us, there's a nice breeze coming from the left to the right of screen, from the north of Adelaide. Umpire just taking his time, both ruckman, you heard the umpire, holding, and now Crack Cabillo takes down Allen.
No, it's a good tackle.
It's a hard surface out there in the middle of the Unley Oval, and I'm sure that Ty Allen can attest to that just at the moment. Players bustle in again, and still it's a draw. Early days of the second term here at Unley. Glenelg not making the most of that breeze in the opening quarter.
That's it.
Bowen had perhaps the best of it. Block just snapped it out of there in the direction of Kirkby. Avery took him down. Umpire called play on. And now we'll get another ball up. Back end of the centre square. If you're a Glenelg supporter, you'd be happy. At least it's gone 20 metres forward.
Seen Glenelg do this previously. They're not too bothered having ball up or boundary throwing or stoppage one after the other. They're quite adapted actually winning the ball from clearances.
Well, Code's in big trouble here, but he's cocked one over the shoulder. He's a bit lucky there.
Very lucky.
Took him on. Came out with a free kick. Avery feeds to Sheedy, who kicks a real low skimming pass to Crane. Crane, normally terrific by foot, and he gets Plant. Plant away to walk. He's got to quickly give it to Nelson. Away to Bogues, the left footer. He kicks it high. Running onto it is Chambers. Mills is right there, wearing him like a glove. And a little bit of perceived pressure, you'd think, because Mills has had the better of him and then just runs into him, and Chambers jogged back.
Well, Mills will be happy every minute of the game if they keep kicking the ball out that wide. Chambers would like the ball more in the corridor, but boundary line once again becomes a defender's best friend if they're going to kick wide into their forward line.
John Cock. Oh, Crane spun out of that brilliantly. Now he's going to have a shot for goal. It's a wobbly ball. Mills and Chambers, and I think Chambers has given away a free kick here, and he's not happy about it, but he did sling Mills, and the umpire was right there and spotted the free kick, and then the short one to Kirk.
Yeah,
Kirk.
free kick definitely there. Chambers just wrapping his arm around Mills and slinging him to the ground.
Kirk is a real helicopter. Cranston, a handball of sorts, Adlington, and Adlington's got Murphy, and Murphy's in a bit of space on the outer side, and just waits for it to sit.
Contact on the ground.
Back up to Willoughby. Willoughby uses the run of Ruwalt. Good hard running. A bounce from Ruwalt. John Cox chase was magnificent. But he looked like a bit of a push. I think you're right there, Pies. Goes to Sheedy. Sheedy, cool and calm. Chips it out. McGlone. Game's gone up a notch in the last couple of minutes. Nelson. Nelson with a handball away to Bratton and Sturt away.
Here's their test, Sturt, as they come through the midfield to decide on the right option. They go long. Mills got to the front of Chambers, who ran over the top of him. Still it's play on. Chambers might get another kick here. No, he gets in over Mills. Double Blues working frantically to keep the ball in their forward area.
Well, it's great play by John Cock. That chase, questionable if that's a free kick or not. You can see there, definite push in the back, but just enough pressure on Ruwalt, who is a very quick player.
And there was holding on, and oh, that's advantage. Everybody stopped. Block kept running, and now he's down to half forward with the kick. Kirkby going back. McGlone tried to punch it. It got to Kirkby. He was pushed just as he kicked it, and it was late. McConnell had taken the mark, and Nelson came late, so McConnell will go back and have a shot for goal.
This will test McConnell. We know he is a skillful player, but kicking from that side of the ground will always be a difficult kick when the breeze is virtually running direct down the ground. You can see there, marked, paid. Nelson just a little late.
McConnell punches the kick and just sneaks it in for the minor score.
Always hard, a right footer on that side of the ground. Almost need to back yourself, run around and kick on the left if you've got enough skill.
Not a natural puncher of the ball. He tends to just chip it, doesn't he?
He does. Tends to weight the ball and use, I suppose, the air and the breeze a little to his advantage.
Bratton. Handy for them this year. Michael Bratton, probably his best season of SANFL football since transferring to Sturt from Norwood a couple of years ago.
Far more consistent this year.
Yeah, he's really complemented that midfield group, and he can run through there, and it's given Luke Norman a lot of flexibility through that area of the ground. Cranston got the knockdown, but Payne snabbled it. Mules, good tackle in there. Well, flicks out to Payne. Got it from Bode. Payne's kick out in front. Plant lost sight of the footy. Liebelt did pretty well. The ball just falls to Gum. Now Gum from 40 loads up and drills it home. Just found himself in a bit of space, Christian Gum, and he doesn't miss many.
Doesn't miss many. He's very skillful play. See the ball push forward here. One-on-one contest. Gum just read that ball really well. Handball was looking to be pushed wide, but Gum picked it off early. Gum had a play and an opportunity to handball the ball, but he's one of, if not the most talented half-forward flanker in the competition. Very rarely misses goals. He's one of those players that he can play tall and small. He's not large in stature, and he's got an enormous amount of flexibility. He can play on the wing, half-forward, and even go in the midfield.
Cranston got the tap, Payne got the disposal. First possession to the double blues out of the middle. Pinozzo and half-back, dangerous hand pass. Found Mules pretty well, who did well to Ruwalt. Kane's running for him, and the ball was smothered by the man on the mark. Mills ducked the head, taken down. The Sturt defensive action in their forward line is quite brilliant at the moment.
Very good. You can see here Mills trying to crash the tackle. Gum was the player who jumped into him. Maybe a little lucky it wasn't high, but forward line pressure from Sturt has been exceptional all day.
Bode out the back, Bratton with a dinky little kick that was smothered. Now away comes Hall. In game number 100 in the SANFL, smashes it along into the forward line. Double Blues have the answers again. Nelson comes away, breaks a tackle or two, gets a return hand pass. They've got runners, they've got 3 or 4 on this side of the ground. A Shepherd and they're away. Gum almost tripped over by Plant. Back in the middle, Bratton puts up his hands. Gum misses him, gets some good support from the Shepherd from Herring, and then Bratton this time finds Chambers. That was a better dinky little kick from Bratton. Last time he tried it, the ball was smothered and away. He swept Glenelg.
He weighted that ball very well. Brant Chambers read where the ball was going. As soon as Bratton had hold of the ball, Chambers led very early. Just weighted the ball nicely so that Chambers could run onto it.
Chambers held goalless against Glenelg twice this season. In fact, Mills held him to 2 handballs last time they met, and he's kicked a minor score this time.
He just leant back on that kick. Chambers has kicked an enormous amount of goals in his SANFL career, so he certainly knows how to kick goals. Knows how to kick goals on this ground in particular. On that occasion,
yes, Neil, that was his first mark in the 3 games against Glenelg.
Nice safe one on the chest too, Moggy, and there's a nice safe mark at the back, taken by Gum. Gum's kick is a beautiful pass to Plant, and he'll go back from 40 metres out directly in front.
See Glenelg's structure's just falling down there slightly, trying to kick the ball out. Sturt had numbers. Gum took the ball. Gum played on very quickly, and the structure for Glenelg just was not there, with Plant finding himself about 20 metres free.
Plant kicks through it, missed. He better run in the first quarter, and he just pushed that way to the right.
Well, Glenelg taking the game on this occasion, playing on from the kick out.
Still low. The kick falling short, but they were good enough to take the mark. Ruwalt. So Ruwalt just waiting, and as Sturt did in the opening quarter, just taking his time. And we're seeing a lot of action on the outer side of the Unley Oval. There's a holding decision gone to John Cock. Umpire Tony Day spotting it. Immediately tries to square it to the middle. Allen was awake to that. Murphy comes through and takes the ball well. Back to Kane, does a 360, finds an option in Button. Button's got a runner or 2 outside him. He decides instead to kick the ball. Down the half forward he goes. Late came Fiddick with a magnificent punch. Double Blues have numbers forward of the ball if they can get it. They just couldn't take control. Oh, and down went Adlington, smashed. And the umpire now will come in and ball it up. And that's a win for the Double Blues. They were in trouble there, looked like they surrendered it. And Adlington was absolutely smashed. Angus, right in, our cameraman down there, right in the middle of the action. Literally. Here's a chance for Bode. Just carried forward in the tackle. Gum, and then Hall, and there's the left leg of Hall. and he was taken down and called holding the ball. Well, I reckon he was unlucky there. He turned away from one tackle, but Garman took him immediately over the line.
Gum's kick is just too far for John Cock, mopping up Mules. Threads the handball out nicely to Adlington. Adlington was a bit fierce in the end for Ruwalt, but had to do a bit of work and then just drew a man back to Adlington. So Glenelg will get out of trouble here. He punches long. Doldig is the target. He's got it. Bit too strong for Walk. And the big fellow, Matty Doldig, on a one-on-one, he's a strong beast. Goes in short, and that's okay to Hall, because Hall will definitely cover the distance on that big left foot he's got.
Well, it's a nice option from Doldig. It was a short kick, but it's a nice option because of the fact that it is Chris Hall. Generally, he's been good this year on his left foot from set shots.
Well, he's booted 6 goals, 9 on the season, Chris Hall. Let's have a look at it. It's got to come a fair way around from there. And didn't quite make the distance, and Kurtz, the big ruckman, got back and took the mark. So he went to ruckman on the last line of defence, getting back in there to provide something. Kurtz, ever improving. Fiddick's the flyer. Cannot take the mark. Running onto it, Jensch got a cruel bounce. Plant, didn't. Allen, Hall, no awareness, gone. The second time in about a minute. Chris Hall's been pinged.
And now the double Blues, gee, they're sweeping forward quickly. Jensch keeps the ball low, looking for Herring. Herring's got numbers, and he just couldn't find them. They were all outside and not inside, and now another turnover. Mules, the skipper of Glenelg, and again, Glenelg now have numbers. They spread on the far side. Here's Ruwalt. Back behind play, wait on the umpire. He saw some action on Backwell, and he's going to play a free kick down the ground. Play on advantage over Myers' head. Walk should be first to it for the double Blues, and is. Back to McGlone, takes his time. He belts it long towards the wing. Collision coming. Chambers, what's he doing up there? He's got a kick anyway or a hand pass. He turns it over the Button, who ducked. Now Ruwalt. Now Mills, Chambers' opponent. Kicks it inside, forward 50, not the greatest of kicks. Doesn't get too many of them, does Wade Mills. Double Blues on the rebound again. Well, Glenelg have numbers on the other side, and the double Blues have numbers on this side. Jensch sweeps the ball forward. Numbers, Herring is one of them. They could have raffled it, Herring and Gums.
Just off the ball there, Fiddick has lined up Allen and collected him. Ty Allen's a tough unit, as we know. Fiddick proving on that occasion to be tougher still.
Just that pass into the forward line. Herring able to find space, leading mark taker in the competition. He starts it out on the left, and it comes back nicely. Double Blues just stretching that lead.
We can see the ball here kicked from defence. Code it was initially. You can see the big shirt front just off the back of the screen there. Sturt streaming forward. Herring is proving to be a handful up forward. He's just one of those players that just pops in and pops out of the game. He's a nice little decoy for Chambers. Majority of the focus is on Brant Chambers, but Herring's one of those players, just pops in and pops out of the game.
You're not suggesting he's a red herring for Chambers?
May well be.
Well, he's booted. How many goals? He's booted about 30-odd goals this year. 28 goals, Ryan Herring, so he's been okay. And the free kick's going to Kirkby, so a chance for Glenelg to pull one back. Kirkby just realising he might be on the edge of his distance. Thought for a moment to pass it off. He may still well do that, but Kirkby from 47. It's going to hold up in the breeze. Up they go. No one can take the mark. Ball fills out the back to Fiddick. Running is Sheedy, who's such an athlete. Has to give some ground. Back finds Gum. Murphy's right there. Gum's clever enough to get away and peel the kick off low and hit Fiddick in the jaw. In comes Nelson with a real barging tackle. Plant, I thought he threw that. That's Plant from Glenelg. And the ball will be thrown up. Ben Mule says, come on.
Nice little body slam tackle here.
Was that legal, Rob? Yes, no, McGlone, legal tackle by Daldig, and the umpires who might have had a chat at quarter time and said, we'll give a few holding the ball decisions in the second quarter, if you don't mind.
Those slam tackles can be very dangerous when the player's got his arm pinned. Lucky he didn't smash his head on the ground.
Umpires are watching those body slam tackles. That one deemed to be okay. Kurtz away to Bode. Bode to the outer side, and that just set Plant an awful task, and Liebelt took him to the line, and Plant looks back at the umpire and says, surely, umpire, he was holding on to me.
Well, you can see Plant made it look a little worse than what it was. The umpire was not going to be sucked in. His gum comes off for a rest.
11-point lead for the Double Blues. Chance to extend it now as they go forward. Gee, they've got some numbers for handball targets. Bode wants his left leg. He's surrounded by Bay players and couldn't get away. Kirk initially, and then Mules.
Very keen to get on the left leg there, Crossy.
Strangely enough. Well, he beat one, but Mules rarely misses a tackle. Now McConnell. Kirk. Oh, now he's got to beat a tackle. Oh, he just gets away with it. Umpire said he threw it.
It's an interesting option from Kirk.
Now
Two or
25
three players to give the ball to. Glenelg undisciplined there. Not sure it was. Might have been Ben Mules. Just flicked the ball back. Went to ground. Free kick straight away.
Well, if he did hit it with his fist, it was only just, and the umpire had ruled a free kick, and the ball was certainly thrown back to Cubillo, but not on the full, and so 25 metres. Cubillo, I must say, is not the safest of kicks. He is not a lay down misere, particularly with this wind. Punches the ball though, gets the goal, and the Double Blues move out to a 17-point margin, just on time on in the second term.
Right on cue, just to prove you wrong there, Crossy. Kick straight. Here's that tackle again, a free kick. See there, well, he has handballed the ball.
Yep.
The umpire may well, in his defence, been blindsided, but no doubt Kirk disappointed with that decision. He'd be even more disappointed in the fact that one of his teammates gave away a 25-metre penalty.
Just a little break now for the Double Blues. A lot of players around this football, and it's going nowhere. So the Double Blues have been able to kick 3 goals to 1 in this term, and they've had a pretty good time of it. Glenelg didn't make the most of it. Fiddick away to Nelson. Evans, high bounce. Ruwalt just gave him enough time to be able to grab him. Willoughby in hard. Haven't seen much of Willoughby, but he was tripped, and he'll get a free kick. Josh Willoughby. Been a goal kicker for them too this year with 17 goals, 10. Won't kick a goal from there.
This will be his first kick. He's had 2 handballs.
Yeah, and he does deliver to McConnell, who's gone up through the midfield. He kicks out looking for Kirkby. He's got to wait. Oh, that's a wonderful grab. Was it? No, must have hit the ground. I'll tell you what, with the naked eye, Kirkby's a bit fired up. He reckons he's taken the mark.
It definitely does. The umpire was right there. He wasn't blindsided. 1, 2.
Yeah, hit the ground.
Hit the ground.
Yeah.
Good decision, umpire.
He was fired up there, Rory Kirkby. Handball comes out to Hall. High floating kick. Murphy running with the flight. Code. Meyer. Quick hands. Backwell. Can't get a handle. Duck the head. Left footer. Class. Is it a goal? No. Missed. Well, he did everything but kick the goal there, Backwell.
He's a clever player, isn't he, Backwell? Under enormous pressure there. Howard found some space. It's quite amazing. Ducked his head and just turned very quickly. Didn't really have time to have a look at the goals. Just had a sense where they were. Threw it on the boot.
First score for the Bays for 15 minutes. Avery's loose on this side of the ground. He can chip it over the top to Bode. He's got plenty of room, Bode. He can go now. Well, just ran out of space, so he had to cross the boundary line. Now Bode waits. He can go into the corridor. Dangerous kick. Oh, gee, Allen misread it. Well done by Evans. His kick was a shocker. It opens up for the Bays through Mules. Now Ruwald. They've got numbers forward of the play. Daldig's by himself in the goal square. Willoughby takes it. Can he get around in time? No, he can't. He's forced to hold up. They did have numbers, though. Double Blues scrambling back, and Danny Meyer has taken the ball maybe 40 from goal. He'll have to again punch this kick into the strong breeze.
Perfect example there of how quickly the ball can go from one end of the ground to the other. Sturt had clear possession of the ball, but just a missed kick under a little bit of pressure when they went forward. Mules was good enough to pounce on it, and as a result, Myers is having a shot on goal.
5 goals, 3 for the season coming into this match. Meyer, he hooks it. Gee, a lot of players have hooked it that far left this afternoon, kicking to that end of the ground. It's down on the full.
It's one of those types of wind. If you can't kick the ball into the eye of the wind, just slightly to the left or the right, and the wind will wreak havoc on the direction of the ball.
Well, when you're against the breeze and you're 40 metres out directly in front, you've just got to kick those. They're going to go into half-time around 10 or 12 points down, Glenelg, so they need make every post a winner. Here's McConnell, booting it high, hoping for a flyer. No one can take it. Meyer might get a second chance here. The left footer just curls away. Almost a carbon copy of Brett Backwell on the left boot, but a little bit further out.
You see, once again, we have perfect angle of that. If the wind has any opportunity on getting the ball and pushing it left or right, it'll do it. See there, Meyer, just too much angle on that kick.
That's it,
Code with a free kick. Plays on quickly. This is what the Double Blues have just been able to do well. Not the greatest of kicks to centre-half forward. Jensch was vastly outnumbered. Glenelg almost a mistake. They get away with it through Kirk. And now Kirkby can go around and play on his left foot. He does. Was that 20 metres, 15 metres, whatever? Umpire thought it was. Meyer lines up and just thumps it long. Double Blues with the numbers, though, again. And Sheedy, who's been in magnificent form this season, the Sturt captain, spreads it wide again to Evans, who's got again plenty of running support from the Double Blues, and lets himself down with a pull kick that was aiming for Jensch and found Mules. And now McConnell through the midfield, and Pinozzo's loose on this side of the ground. He'll run that channel straight towards goal. He kicks it long, and again, numbers are there favouring the Double Blues. At the front, Meyer, third snap, and he's finally got a goal.
Well, the right word there, Crossy. Finally he's kicked a goal. He's had 3 opportunities in the last 2 minutes. Glenelg taking the ball from one end of the ground. It's not a bad option, this in the wind. It's very hard to pinpoint passes. Kick the ball to the top of the square, get front and square. You can see here Meyer not only doing the crumbing work on his hands and knees, but quick enough to jump up and just throw that on the right boot, almost half squatting in mid-air. One of the plays that Mark Micken threw forward at the start of this second quarter, played on the half-back line in the first quarter.
And that's worked, hasn't it? He's been lively. Here's Payne, back to Sheedy, who's been pretty lively as well. Bad bounce for Bode. McConnell went to ground, then got up quickly, then kicked, looking for Hall. Got a good block, Hall, from Kirkby, just running across the back. Now, he can kick long. Doldig's gone in short. Who's at the back? He's only got Backwell floating into the pocket, so he's held onto it for too long here, you would think, and Sturt have got their numbers back. So he's decided to go with a fair old wobbly ball, and then Bowen just too easy. Just held on a bit long, did Hall. And I think that Backwell might have ran past Bowen and said, "Give it to me, Jake," and he almost did. One of the old tricks of the game. Back to Avery. Standing start to the outer side. Beats everyone and rolls out of bounds. So the game delicately poised. 9-point lead to Sturt, but they will have a... They've got to go against that breeze in the third term.
Certainly been an arm wrestle this game. The pressure from Sturt has been greater than Glenelg's pressure. Having said that, Glenelg not out of the game at all.
Certainly not. Half-time at the Unley Oval in difficult windy conditions. It's 5-3-33, the Double Blues. Glenelg 3-6-24 at half-time, a 9-point lead to the home side.
Yes, well, a good quarter again by Sturt. They'd be happy going in at half-time in front. Their pressure, particularly in that first half of that second quarter, was far greater than Glenelg. Some of the tackling and pressure from their forward line players was very good. Glenelg not out of the game at the moment, but Mark Micken wouldn't be too happy going in at half-time.
Round 21 of grandstand football from the Unley Oval. It's a 9-point lead at halftime for the Double Blues.
Las Vegas is a megawatt mirage in the middle of the desert. But behind the bright lights lies a seedy underbelly in the place they call Sin City. Go deep inside the Nevada legal system and come face to face with the accused.
Life without parole here in Nevada, it means that.
I can't do it. And the lawyers whose job it is to defend.
You know, this is serious stuff.
Or condemn.
He had the intent to kill.
Sin City Law, Wednesday 8:30, ABC 2.
Hey, come here, you two.
You're going to wig out as Tony Robinson takes on crime and punishment in the 16th century.
It's hard to believe that people were actually hung, drawn and quartered on this little green.
When Parliament cut off a king's head to prove that no one was above the law.
That was a pivotal moment in legal history.
Tony Robinson's Crime and Punishment, Tuesday, ABC 1.
Sturt having ever so slightly the better of Glenelg in the first half at Unley Oval this afternoon. Let's look now at the under-18 competition where, of course, the top 4 has been decided, but still 5th place to be decided. Let's look back at what happened in round 20 of the under-18 comp. South Adelaide might be waiting for the season to finish, languishing near the foot of the ladder, but they're not wasting time down there. Panthers coach Robbie Neal has been putting the youngsters through their paces, and with just 4 rounds to go last week, they had nothing to lose. Oh, okay, except the match, that is. South certainly made the Eagles fight for this win. The margin was 2 goals at quarter time and only 1 goal at half time. But the Eagles had much more than pride at stake. The battle for the finals is on in earnest, and at the moment it's only percentage keeping them from an inaugural finals berth. Once again, the Eagles counted on their strength up front with Jake von Berto among the multiple goal kickers. No less than 8 Eagles shared the goals at Theberton in the early morning clash. Brenton Lowry, who was last year playing in the SA Amateur Football League, was named best on ground for the Eagles. Brenton had a stint with the West Adelaide under-17s and was runner-up in the best and fairest in 2007. He's no stranger to the goals and kicked 2 for the Eagles on Saturday. Other notables included 18-year-old Kieran Holland with 10 disposals and 17-year-old Cameron Sutcliffe, who booted 1 goal for the Eagles. For South, Jack Sutton kept the scorers busy, but the other 7 goal scorers only managed 1 goal each. So the Eagles kept their finals chances well and truly alive with a close-fought 12-point win over the Panthers. In the other early morning game last week, Norwood visited Alberton Oval and amassed a score that the Callington Eagles would have been proud of. Sorry, you shouldn't poke fun, but a Norwood-Port clash will always evoke the expectation of a tight tussle built on a century of rivalry. Well, the under-18s competition may not have a century of history behind it, but this was anything but a tight tussle. Norwood was completely and utterly outclassed, scoring exactly nothing in the first quarter for the first time this season. On the other hand, Port was quite fantastic with 43 shots on goal and 7 multiple goal kickers. It's all coming right for Port at the right end of the season. As the finals approached, the Magpies last week welcomed back Ned Heath from a broken thumb, and this week Dean Dudley was back from an ankle injury. Both have been honoured with MVP awards this season, and if Port is going to overcome title favourites Glenelg, they're going to need these boys to perform. And perform they did, with Dudley quickly racking up 24 possessions as Port piled on the goals. 15-year-old dynamo Luke Wilson travelled to Sydney earlier this year with the under-16 state team. Now playing with the big boys in the under-18s, Luke kicked 5 of his 6 goals for the season against Norwood on Saturday. Not a bad way to boost your tally in a hurry. Caleb Howell was among the best on ground for the Magpies with 3 goals from his 18 possessions, including 6 marks. Caleb showed why he's recognised as one of Port's hardest workers on a weekly basis.
Norwood's only 2 goal scorers were Peter Perzinos and Luke Rander, but they'll want to forget this fixture. The only time this season Norwood has scored less, they were on the bye. Port is surely on its way to an October showdown, victors by 133 points. If you wanted to find another genuine premiership contender, you need look no further than Sturt. While the Bays and Magpies have been fighting it out at the top of the table, Sturt has been quietly working at maintaining 3rd place since round 9. But the Bloods have consistently been a thorn in the Double Blues side. Sturt has lost to West in both previous clashes this year by 3 points in round 3 and 4 points in round 14. This was a grudge match, to say the least, but the Double Blues proved to be masters when it comes to holding a grudge. It might have been the hottest August 15th on record, and the wind might have been at gale force at times, but it was easily the shock of the round. West, like Norwood some 3 hours earlier, failed to score at all in the first quarter. And just like Norwood, that had never happened before to West. Perhaps considering the wind, the best win on the day was the coin toss. Lachlan Giles is seriously threatening Josh Trembath's grip on the leading goal scorers tally. Lachlan's 6 goals with the wind at Richmond took him to 47 for the season, just 4 behind Trembath. Sturt piled on 8 goals in the first quarter, making the most of the win, but then, by going on to win the second and third quarters, they dismissed any excuses the conditions might have presented to the Bloods. Tom Fotheringham worked hard across half-back to be named best on ground for Sturt. Tom Harms added 4 goals and John Greenslade kicked 2 as Sturt kept on the pressure until three-quarter time when, up by 14 goals, they took the foot off the gas just a little, allowing the Bloods the slightest dignity in winning the final quarter. Westies are sitting 4th at the moment, but they're by no means secure yet. It's mathematically possible for them to miss out on the finals, but they'd have to lose to North in round 22. Yeah, right, that's going to happen. Sturt by 68 points at Richmond Oval. If you want to talk mathematics, Central District went into this game 1.49% ahead of the 6th placed Eagles, but with a game in hand. A win was what they wanted, a big win would be useful, well, they got both. The Dogs came up against a North Adelaide team that has been less than competitive this season. The boys from Prospect have only had 1 win from their 17 starts this season, but hey, who did they beat? It was way back in round 2 that the Bulldogs went down by 41 points to the Roosters, so Central's coach Grant Coffey recognised that this was a danger match. Well, he needn't have feared. His young side was 9 goals up at half-time and a whopping 17 goals up by three-quarter time. Tall 19-year-old Damien Hines, who featured in the National Under-18 Championships last year, was a major contributor, returning from the reserves to kick 7 goals for the Dogs. Josh Whitwer added 3 goals on his way to the 2010 AFL draft, where he'll be hot property come November. Robert Bellamy added 3 goals, and Jared Schiller was not only named best on ground for his 28 possessions and 1 goal, but he was also awarded the MVP for the round for what the judges said was his outstanding work ethic and attack on the ball. The Dogs have given themselves a very real chance of playing finals football in the first year of the competition. It's only the last few rounds that Central has been in the top 5, so the prospect of September action was perhaps a little unexpected at Elizabeth. A 119-point victory over North has kept those chances very much alive.
So quickly reviewing those results with the Eagles over the Panthers by just the 2 goals. Port by very comfortable 133 points. Sturt another 11 goal and a couple of points victory, and then Central's beating North Adelaide, another 100-point plus flogging for the luckless Roosters. Quickly looking through that ladder, and Glenelg, Port, Sturt, we know they're safe. Westies technically aren't safe, but the reality is they will probably finish 4th. Central and the Eagles will fight out the one remaining position in the top 5. Time now to turn to the senior competitions around the country, and of course we'll start as usual with the WAFL.
East Perth looked to book a finals appearance when they hosted the Falcons in round 21 of the Waffle, but it didn't start according to plan as Brent Lacroix sparked the visitors with 3 goals. The Royals were fortunate to only trail by 6 points at the break, courtesy of Michael Swan.
At the full, Swan snapping on his second. He's got the dream bounce.
The second quarter remained a tight struggle until Brendan Lee eventually locked up the scores for the Royals after 14 minutes. The home side with plenty of opportunities but couldn't extend their lead past 9 points at the main break. Poor discipline from the Falcons proved costly in the third quarter as they gave away 2 50-metre penalties.
From centre-half back, goes to centre-half forward, goes back and kicks a goal.
All the luck was going the way of East Perth as Hamish Shepherd kicked an easy goal, but 17-year-old Jack Darling kept the visitors within striking distance as they trailed by just 9 points at the final change. The last quarter remained a seesawing affair as both sides remained committed to the contest before West Perth gained the advantage.
This is strike, 35 out. Can he finish well? He can.
The Royals' persistence was rewarded as Tim Noakes booted his third goal to seal a 16-point win and keep their finals chances alive. Noakes and Swan both kicking 3 for the winners, while Brent Lacroix kicked 4 goals for the Falcons. In other round 21 matches, South Fremantle got over the Sharks. Peel couldn't move off the bottom, going down to Claremont. The Swans and Perth played out a draw, while Subiaco had the bye. To the ladder, and with 2 rounds remaining, South Fremantle sit on top from Subiaco, the Swans and East Perth making up the top 4. The Falcons sit just outside from Perth, the Sharks, Claremont and Thunder on the bottom. Hobart were determined to upset Devonport's finals chances in round 17 of the TSL, with the home side looming dangerous early as Michael Cassidy gave them the perfect start. Tom Robinson on debut started his career in style with 2 goals from his first 2 kicks as the Tigers raced to a 28-point lead at the first change. The Magpies finally converted their first major in the second quarter through Ryan Williams, but the Tigers continued to make the most of their opportunities.
Gathered by Keane, he snaps it goal, it's unguarded, it rolls through.
Devonport booting back-to-back goals as Reece Colbeck reduced the margin to 5 points on the siren at half-time. It was a tight tussle to start the second half as Hobart eventually gained the ascendancy.
Gives to Garrett, in the pocket, goes to the check side and puts it through.
The Tigers kicking 2 goals in under a minute as Cassidy showed his skill around ground level before Aaron Hall took full toll of the breeze to establish a 34-point break at the final change. With a finals berth on the line, the Magpies lifted their intensity in the final quarter and it paid dividends as Reece Mott produced a textbook crumbing goal. Chris McDonald eventually swinging the match the visitors' way.
McDonald needs his best kick of the day. Has he delivered it? He has. Yes. Devonport in front, 6 goals in a row.
McDonald crucial at both ends of the ground as Devonport held on to a 3-point win. Michael Cassidy and Tom Robertson both kicking 3 goals for the Tigers, while Reece Colbeck also kicked 3 for the Magpies. In other round 17 matches, Clarence proved too strong for Lauderdale. The Bulldogs couldn't upset North Launceston, while Burnie went down to North Hobart by a goal. Glenorchy and Burnie remained separated only by percentage at the top of the ladder from Clarence, while Launceston, Devonport and the Demons are all locked on 36 points inside the top 6. The Bombers sit a game outside from Hobart, Lauderdale and the Bulldogs on the bottom. A howling wind greeted the Bull Ants and the Cats as they faced off at Preston in round 18, and it was bad news for the visitors early, star forward James Podsiadly going down injured. But things looked better on the scoreboard, Geelong taking advantage of the gale while nothing was going right for the Ants.
Your backwards kick, it's dangerous. Oh, the runners collided.
4 goals to none, seeing the Cats lead by 31 at the first change. The team's fortunes changed as the home side kicked with the wind in the second. Chris Yarran everywhere as he tackled well to set up Jason Saddington for the Ants first before adding a pair of his own.
He gives it off to Yarran from the pocket and he threads the needle.
The Bull Ants by 11 at the main break. Yarran almost kicked the first goal of the day into the wind early in the third, but from there it was again the Cats doing all the scoring. Brodie Moles the standout as he took control of the forward 50 to boot 3 for the term and give his side a handy 24-point buffer with a quarter to play.
Moles sneaking to the back of the pack. Kicks an important goal. He's got 3 for the term.
It took the home side 10 minutes to get the first goal of the last term, and with the Cats keeping their eyes on the prize, it looked as though they might hang on.
But Motlop's hand, he flies and he takes the grab.
But a pair of goals put the Ants ahead going into time on before Adam Hartlett sealed a thrilling win from outside 50.
To put the result beyond doubt. What a kick from Adam Hartlett!
The Bull Ants coming home with a wet sail to win by 7. Hartlett and Yarran leading the Ants scoring with 2 goals apiece, while Moles was the pick of the Cats forwards with 3 in a game where no goals were kicked into the wind. In other games, Sandringham had a shock loss to Frankston. Box Hill were far too good for Bendigo. Williamstown smashed Collingwood by 69 points. Werribee got home in a thriller over Coburg. The Roosters beat Port, and Casey had the bye. To the ladder, and with 2 rounds remaining, it's still Williamstown on top, with the Roosters just behind on percentage. Port and Box Hill are next, followed by the Bull Ants, with Casey, Geelong and Collingwood rounding out the 8. Sandringham and Coburg are a game outside and are the only realistic chances of jumping into the 8, with Werribee, Frankston and Bendigo holding down the last 3 spots.
Kirsty Bradmore there with our look around the country, Rob. Plenty of interest in every competition as we come down to finals.
No doubt, I suppose all of the supporters are looking forward to what action their team may well play come September.
Finals like this afternoon, Mark Soderstrom here at the Unley Oval. Good crowd in. Bit of a breeze, the only thing detracting from the spectacle.
There is a super crowd, in fact, a great atmosphere down on ground level, but that breeze has been very significant in the first part of the game. I've actually got a bit of a radar for you just to give you an idea there. Now, if you have a look at that, it's got nothing to do with rain or anything. We can see the blue there. That's where the breeze is coming from, and our point there is around about 2 wells, and there's the orange. Now, that is where the breeze has gone. Pretty much what I can tell you is that means that the breeze is going to stay a northwesterly for most of the day, so we should expect the same conditions throughout. You love that, didn't you? That sort of gave a bit more of an idea. It's going to be breezy all day. That's all we need to know. Joining me now is SANFL umpire, and he also works for the Heart Foundation, Colin Rouston. Colin, we see the umpires in the Red Sox today. It's charity round. Tell us a bit about what's happening.
The Heart Foundation's joined up with SANFL to have charity around this year, and Heart Foundation is the leading voice for heart health in Australia. We've been operating for 50 years and doing a lot to improve the heart health of all Australians, leading cause of death in Australia. And yeah, we're collecting money this weekend.
Now, Cole, if it is the leading cause, for the people back home there just watching, maybe sitting up on the couch relaxing, what can they do to try and reduce their chances of any heart problems?
Well, first of all, donate to the Heart Foundation. That will help because we do fund a lot of research and education, but also for their own heart health, get out, be active, stay smoke-free and enjoy healthy eating.
Good stuff, mate. Good tips. Now, just some quick ones. You are an umpire, of course, involved with the Robert Shirley incident early in the year. You reported him for that dangerous tackle. We saw something earlier today. I think it was Nick Walk's tackle on Adlington there. And a bit of a throw there, but didn't look too bad. Certainly wasn't injured in that. What's the go now with the umpires? It's still a hot topic looking at those dangerous tackles?
Absolutely. We're always on the lookout for it. I didn't see the incident because I was collecting for the Heart Foundation, but yeah, if we see that a tackle is going to be unnecessary in the circumstances and we're worried about the player's safety, it'll be reported and taken to tribunal. So certainly we'll be looking out for dangerous tackles.
Good on you, Cole. Keep up the good work there with the Heart Foundation. We're going to have a look at some highlights from earlier in the match.
Yeah, certainly important to get some exercise for your heart, but please don't do it this afternoon. There's still some great football to watch in the second half as we look through what happened and unfolded, as both teams really didn't capitalise on the breeze in the first 2 quarters, Rob.
No, it's been an interesting game that the majority of the scoring has been scored against the wind, and we saw early Glenelg really struggled with that wind. Sturt weren't a lot better in that second quarter. Having said that, it was really their pressure, and we can see some of the pressure come from a player like Tristan Gum. It was their pressure, their tackling, their harassment, which gave them the opportunity to score goals.
Yeah, they certainly had, when they broke from defence, they were able to have, it seemed, a lot of running players to open up those possibilities. Didn't perhaps execute as well as they wanted, though.
No, the wind is swirly, it is pushing down the ground. Does make it difficult. Funny free kick, that one. Certainly Kirk said that he did handle the ball, and on slow-mo replay he did, but once again it was the pressure from Sturt which caused that goal. Glenelg late in that quarter did put some scoreboard pressure on by moving the ball forward. We made mention that this isn't a bad option into the wind. Just get your crummers underneath the hot spot there inside the forward 50. Far easier to score goals there when it is a crumbing situation.
5 goals, 33 for the Double Blues. Interesting there that Brant Chambers again has failed to kick a goal in the 2 matches and a half a match this afternoon against the Tigers this season. 5-3-33 to 3-6-24 at half-time. Through those stats, and there's an interesting one that you've got there in relation to the inside 50s.
Yeah, the inside 50s you can see are in favour of Glenelg, 26 to 14. but they've been 13-7 in both quarters. Glenelg getting far more of the ball inside their forward 50. Strangely enough, though, if you have a look at the statistics, particularly in terms of kicks and handballs, you can see there that Sturt have had more of the ball.
As the players just start to break for the second half, here is the score at Richmond Oval. Look at that. 4 points, sorry, it's at Woodville Oval, I should say. 4 points the margin in favour of West Adelaide, remembering that there's now, because of North Adelaide beating Norwood, there's 3 points the margin between North and West on the table. So if Westies were to upset the Eagles, they play North Adelaide next week. What a match that'll be.
It'll be an absolute perler, and there's no doubt that West Adelaide have to win that game if they're going to play finals football.
Absolutely. Now, just quickly, again, as the players just get set, give us a winner from here.
Gee whiz, I would say on pressure and intensity, Sturt are going to win.
Pressure and intensity, who?
Sturt will win.
Okay, yes, just wasn't sure, but I was distracted, of course, by the magpie that's wandering around out there. They're going to miss finals action. Port Adelaide this season, maybe that's as close as they'll get to some finals football. Anyway, here's Michael Maney with the second half.
Well, we love to rub it in, don't we? The old Magpies haven't had the best of time of it, but what a wonderful club they've been. An enormous amount of premierships. This game delicately poised. Second half underway. Cranston, double-hander, block. Oh, Bode with a loose leg there, and he's pinged for it too. The trip. Sometimes you can get reported for that. Lucas blocked the man with the free kick. Well, Glenelg need to make the most of the breeze in this third term. Murphy did a lot of running. Oh, corral the footy. Wonderful play, Murphy. Can he come it off for the goal? Sensational stuff from Byron Murphy. Well, he was running into uncharted territory there. Didn't know what was coming. Kept his eye on the footy. What a goal.
Great call there, Michael. There's no doubt he's under enormous pressure of what could have been in terms of traffic. He didn't know there was nobody coming. Did enough just to get his fingertips on the ball. Could have been collected heavily there by a Sturt player. He wouldn't have known there was no one coming. There were 2 players, but they're about 10 metres away. But Murphy, nice goal. Great way to start the second quarter for Glenelg.
With his first kick for the day, he's had 6 handballs as well.
Recruited from Frankston in the VFL. How many recruits we're going to see in coming years of that new import rule the SANFL is introducing? Gum, poor kick, Adlington intercepting. Cranston in the corridor. He's decided against that. Instead, keeps it outside to Panozzo.
That's it right there.
Pulls up in front of that scoreboard that reads 5-3 to 4-6 in favour of the Double Blues. But that lead obviously cut by Murphy's goal. Down to just the 3 points. Kirkby, as is his want, with the lead up and mark. Doldig now providing a lead. That's ignored. Kirkby waiting. Kirk has made big ground from centre-half back to provide a lead inside forward 50. Cranston handballs off quickly, and then inside 50. The kick was just intercepted by Cody. Did well. Herring was the direct opponent of Kirk, followed him down, got the kick away Plant, and now Cabillo, and now Bratton wants a runner, finds one in Herring. Geez, doing a lot of work. He's at centre-half forward, and now he's at centre-half back. And now Jensch's kick is smothered by, yes, Liebelt just over the line.
Good defensive pressure there by Liebelt. Glenelg, early in this third quarter, have lifted their intensity. You can see there that Sturt really had no one to kick to. Even Chambers was up on the wing initially and then trying to lead back into space.
Double Blues get it to Gum. Just couldn't hold on to the ball. Cleared away by Block. McGlone opposed to Backwell, held on. Backwell will get the free kick. Gary medalists will take the free kick and just drop it over the top, and they've got a runner in Kane. And Kane was just ever so subtly held back by Bratton, and a free kick, and behind play, Rob, you've spotted a stretcher case.
Well, the trainers are calling for the stretcher. Block there in enormous amount of pain. He's a tough unit. Maybe we'll try to get up. Not quite sure what it is, if it's his knee. He's certainly holding that right knee there. That'll be extremely disappointing, not only for Block, but also for Glenelg if he is not able to partake anymore or participate anymore. You can see there it was just a corky, wasn't it? Got crashed by.
It's his right leg or right knee that would be appearing to be the problem. So it wasn't the way he landed. It was obviously the collision with Cabillo. And You can see there he is in a fair degree of pain. We're going to have a long stop now as Lucas Block gets taken off, the boy from Narracourt, who actually by trade is a carpenter. I don't know if he's going to be turning up for work tomorrow.
Well, you do know that the tradies tend to recover quicker from injuries, particularly when they're soft tissue injuries, because they're continuously moving. But it will be a sore boy tomorrow if he's got a corky in the knee. They tend to hurt a bit.
I was talking to a couple of carpenters at half-time.
Where? Yeah. Who were they?
Number 21 and number 28, Tweedledum and Tweedledee for Centrals.
Fine carpenters?
Fine carpenters, they are.
Ouch. That clash of knees there.
Yeah. Look, the worst thing about that is just the wraparound of the knee around Cabillo's leg. If that's the problem, then he may well have done I'm trying to think now, lateral ligament by the looks of it, the way that the knee was positioned there. At best, you might find it's a core.
Dr. Soderstrom will be all over this because we'll have more technical terms than you'll ever see in General Hospital.
He's a weather expert as well.
He is.
Michael, we just found out his knee's stuffed.
Thank you. Very good. Well done. Here's Cranston. He doesn't kick many goals, and that's why. That just floats away into the tennis courts and bounces away. Trevor Cranston. There's Lucas Block just explaining to the trainer exactly what's happening. And then hopefully someone will get to Mark Soderstrom and give us the technical term for stuffed.
I think it's spot on.
That can be really, really difficult to... Not much flesh around the old kneecap and in their pies, is there?
No, there certainly isn't. And underneath that, where the trainer or the doctor or the physio, whichever one it was pressing, there's a couple of bones there that tend to crack on impact.
Well, Sturt, meanwhile, have recovered the ball from the tennis courts at the back. I noticed earlier in the week they were being scarified. Come up looking exactly like the oval pitch for the test match, actually. Just looked horrible. Sturt on centre wing with a tackle by John Cock holding up Murphy, and we'll get a ball up. Well, Bowen perhaps had the better of it. Cabillo came through. Plant was the target. Liebold with the punch. Willoughby and then Panozzo. And then Liebold again trying to get well. He just handballed it to himself. Umpire called play on. Plant went after the ball to Crane, and long he goes over the top. Great kick for Jensch. Well, he ignored Chambers on the lead and went to that position 25 from goal, and Jensch was the man on the spot.
It wasn't pinpoint perfect, but it was in space. Jensch has done a couple of nice things today. Crane there, just kicking the ball to the hot spot. You can see there it was weighted quite nicely and in front of Jensch, and that's all you want as a forward.
Now, we've seen most notably in the last quarter from Danny Meyer, this sort of distance at this goal tends to be tugged left, and Jensch has left it right. So he's made an overcorrection. Who's next up?
It's proving to be very difficult kicking goals from that distance and that angle, particularly if you're a right footer. Once again, that breeze playing havoc with both teams kicking at goal.
Luke Panozzo with the kick out. Long kick with the breeze. Cranston in front. Went the knockdown. Could have taken the mark. Bode hovering over the footy. Someone's got him in a chicken wing there. It was Backwell. Cranston, big Trev said, let's just have enough of this. We'll just try and burst our way through, but he can't do that.
Rugby scrum.
There's Backwell and the old...
It's a nice tackle, that, isn't it? Has he gained possession of the ball? If he's gained possession of the ball, you'd have to say it could be classified as holding the ball.
Yeah, front on here, and was going to Ty Allen, who had the wind taken out of his sails in the last quarter, and there's been plenty of wind blowing around today. Allen took a heavy knock, and I think it was Fiddick was the man that collected him. And
it's a tough player, Fiddick. We might ask Soders. He knows the Sturt players very well, how tough Fiddick is.
Doldig couldn't take the mark, and there's a free kick for a push. It's going back here to Bratton. Away to McGlone. I think Soders is down there getting some sort of prognosis on the Lucas Block knee. So does.
We've got the rundown here, Michael. Look, he's okay. It was just a knock to the knee. Nice red mark, exactly where he made contact there, but no structural problems, which is good. A little bit of ice, I think, has come out just to have a bit of a look at him. Had a chat to the steward, the umpire steward. He said there's no time limit once a player comes off with a stretcher, so he is right to return to the ground, and Glenelg are hopeful he should be fine. And Pies, Paddy Fiddock, rock solid, very tough unit.
Certainly has been tough today. A couple of the bumps and shepherds he's put on have been quite tough.
Kurtz will take the mark from the Bratton kick, who quickly gave it to Code, who just hasn't stopped running all day. He hugs the line. John Cock working in confined spaces and can't do anything but run it out of play.
15 possessions for Michael Code, only headed by Jade Sheedy's had 17. For Glenelg, Mark Ruwalt's had 13 and Lucas Block 11.
Over the back came Kirk, and Glenelg sweep it away through Willoughby. And now comes to Kane, and Allen again involved, and then Murphy, who just dribbled the kick out into space. Backwall missed the target, Panozzo, some perceived pressure there. Backwall with a hand pass back to Allen, slipped it away. Good pressure from Double Blues, play on advantage. Adlington inside 50. Oh, and a good punch came from Wharf. Away to Code. He's got Plant on centre wing if he can get it to him. Plant's got a lot of room if the ball stays in, and it doesn't. Code was just off balance as he kicked that ball, and a chance goes begging for the Double Blues.
Seen both teams today, as they've moved the ball inside their forward 50, when they have the wind at their back, that they're just over-kicking. Players are leading up, but having to stop and prop, and on several occasions, ball's just going far too high over the head of the leading forward.
Jensch, having got that message that we saw on the bench, has come flying back onto the ground. Murphy slips it to Willoughby, and then running for him is Mules, and Mules can drop it in short or decides to go long. That wasn't meant to be a torpedo punt. That was the breeze, and what happened then was Ben Mules just dropped it awkwardly, and it came off like a beautiful spiral punt and went out of bounds.
It just wasn't the perfect kick. Here it is here. Yeah, just got the belly of the ball. Sort of a flat punt that turned into a torpedo.
Coaches don't like those, Rob, do they?
No, they don't. Particularly when you have a forward on the lead with 2 or 3 metres space.
Yes, and just hit the pocket and just dribbled out of play. And a lot of players around this footy. Kurtz and Kirkby got it down. Doldig, Hall, high floater, getting back Fiddock. Eyes for the football. And then away to Sheedy, who hasn't stopped running also. John Cock, long way from goal at half back. And his athleticism and work rate has been right up there today, Jeremy Johncock. May not show up in stats, but boy, he's worked hard. Evans kept it low and found Sheedy, who just kept running. So it's a gradual build-up here from the Double Blues. They'll wait for something to open up, probably switch and then run. Sheedy just holding on. Glenelg just guarding space. Got a good shepherd on the mark from Jensch, who got Kane out of the way, and then he kicked to a contest. No one could take the mark. Allen front and square. Just a little chip. Was pretty good to find Willoughby. Good vision. Willoughby got around to Fiddock okay. Then delivered nicely to Ruwalt, who drifted down. And Ruwalt thought about the handball over the top to Kane, but that would have been a big problem because Bode was right there, and this bloke works really hard, Ruwalt.
He does. He's been great today. Willoughby's been an important player to him through the midfield, pushing forward. Just found that free player. That's been the missing key, I suppose, for both teams at the moment, is when they do go forward, there hasn't been any real precision. Not too often today have we seen that, where Glenelg have moved forward, found someone free in space inside their forward 50.
9 goals, 13 to Mark Ruwalt. Hasn't scored today. From around 40. It's a good-looking kick. Clapping it through was Doldig, but the goal umpire said it's a behind. 2-point lead to Sturt, and Ruwalt a bit disappointed with that because it's relatively easy from there.
Particularly with that breeze at the back. 4 goals, 8 for Glenelg. If they keep this up, they'll kick themselves out of the game. You get a feeling that a team that can kick 2 or 3 consecutive goals will do enough to win this game.
Well, you definitely say that on the basis Rob, that there's only been 9 goals scored in the game. 5 goals plays 4, so if you can get a run of 2 or 3, all of a sudden it becomes nigh impossible to get a winning score to come from behind. Here's Sturt working the outer side pretty well, the eastern side of the ground. Payne made the mistake, went to McGlone. He's let the ball go. In the end, the umpire said he dropped it. So he's in control of it, tackled, and then he just let the arms go. Back to junior footy.
Well, he had a teammate there, Johncock. He knew he had to try to get the ball free, so he let it go, but that's just dropping the ball.
Now Glenelg have the problem that the Double Blues have had time to get back in numbers. Button with a kick, that was a push. The umpire will give the free kick to Ben Mules. Can share it with Backwell. Opts just to go back and have the kick. Double Blues crowding out the forward line of the Tigers, and so they're trying to go around at the moment. Pinozzo squares the kick to Mills, has to take it. Oh, it bobbled too. Chambers was lurking. Down the line he goes. Liebelt decides to play on, set it up. Kirk's in trouble. From behind came Fiddick, knocked it towards the line, and then Kirk took him over and wait on it. Umpire Tim Pfeiffer coming in. Says no, he was just concerned, I think, about the players getting a little bit testy after that tackle. We just see how close it came to the fence line here at Unley.
There always tends to be more action on this side of the ground, close to the crowd. The players tend to get a little excited, overheat at times.
Well, there's not a lot of action on this side of the ground, though, because basically both clubs have opted to try and keep the ball short down the other side of the ground. Backwell was good to Willoughby. Willoughby fakes the hand pass. Backwell to his right is on. He's still on. He's ignored him. He's gone into half forward with a kick. It'll carry the pack. Doldig, McConnell lurking. Walk picks it up, gets it away. Only just. Bode is in a bit of space if the ball stays in, which it doesn't. Out of bounds.
Boys, good sign for the Bays. Lucas Block, magnificent recovery. Lazarus-like, in fact, he's back on the deck.
That knee looks all right, Sodas?
Nothing wrong with it.
A misdiagnosis for the first time this year from Dr. Soderstrom. Kirkby. I don't know whether he's a witch doctor, Sodas. He's cast a spell on Lucas Block, but he's defied the odds. Up goes Kurtz, down the back to Code, Gum, Evans, but left it for Nelson, who fed it beautifully to Payne, working in a telephone box over there, and he did so well. And Plant's got it between wing and half back. Worked pretty hard, this bloke.
Don't worry, Michael, I've got him stitched up. I've got the little number 8 doll. I'm just sticking some pins in the knees at the moment.
He'll be off in a minute. That's not like a puncher either. Up they go, and the mark taken by Kirk. Kirk over the top to Kane. Kane just fed it nicely, Pinozzo. McConnell's on. It's gone over his head, so we got plenty on the kick, Pinozzo. And it'll be okay to Willoughby. Willoughby might just delay. He'll try and go back to McConnell, then gave it to Mills. McConnell not looking. Then he was. And he got the handball away, blocked the miracle man, away to Button, away to Kane. Kane looking for Kirkby, he's got a run at it. That's a better kick going inside 50, and they've kicked a lot of balls over the top and right at the top of Doldig's head in particular, but this time they weighted it nicely.
Much better kick. You can see the players are starting to get used to the breeze and how influential that wind is. It's only a little kick there from Ben Kane, just chipped it up. Enormous amount of run from Glenelg off the half-back line.
Ruwalt missed, but Kirkby didn't. And amazingly, the Bays are in front. It's a 4-point margin, but I've just got this sneaking feeling that's not enough when you've got to go against the breeze in the last turn.
Glenelg, just through sheer weight of numbers and run from the back line, got themselves out of danger. They threw the ball around 2 or 3 times. They gave the wrong option, got their teammates into trouble, but had enough players running in support to be able to dish the ball off again. And for the second time this quarter, Glenelg actually find a target inside forward 50.
Glenelg's first lead since the 7-minute mark of the second term in a low-scoring game. Double Blues work it from the middle. Crane and then Cabillo, and then he released it, and it was intercepted by the Bays and swept away. Murphy to Kane, tried to give it back to Murphy. And wait on it, umpire has spotted a free kick. Walk let go of Ruwalt, and Ruwalt's kicked a goal. Gee, that was a big, big advantage.
Well, it was a huge advantage. Crowd not happy at all. Hand pass into Kane. Kane missed that handball. Ruwald grabbed hold of the ball. The umpire had already blown the whistle. You can see Sturt play stopped. Ruwald played on, had a look around, make sure that the umpire was signalling advantage and didn't make any mistake.
Out by 10 points now, the Bays. Crane, who's had his injury problems today. Cranston, oh, amazing stuff by the big fellow. Not a good kick, wobbling ball. Here's Kirk, he'll try and feed it off. Good tackle, brilliant tackle. And that was by Fiddick, I think, or was it, yes, it was Patrick Fiddick with a lovely tackle. Just really stuck it to Kirk. Look at this.
Been impressed with him today. Kirk got rid of the ball, got his boots of ball. Fiddick has been exceptional.
Over the back, McConnell and Ruwalt just diving on the footy, just threw himself forward, I thought, and was just playing for a free kick, but nothing doing, said the umpire. Ball it up, a lot of players around the footy. Bowen knocked it down. Meyer, who worked so hard. Kirkby, just a little dribbly kick to the line. Plant kept it in. McConnell just tried to knock it on, and then Kirkby goes over the line. So desperation stakes at the moment for Sturt, because Glenelg are on a roll, and there's Roy Laird. He's the one with no hair. And he's making notes.
Glenelg working.
Go, Mark.
Glenelg working much harder this quarter. Had 61 possessions to 37, and inside 50 11 times to 2.
Ian Mogridge sounding a lot like Mark Soderstrom, and vice versa. And the ball, a stalemate at the moment inside the forward 50 for the Bays.
Geez, some intense matchups out there. I notice Ty Allen and Josh Cabillo have had each other for company for most of the day. Jade Sheedy had block, and then, of course, block went off. Murphy's taken Crane, and that time a lucky bounce, and out on the full. Sturt will take the free kick in the back pocket. It'll be Nelson to wander down there, the former captain. Ball's gone over into the tennis court, so just have a pause and a glance at that scoreboard. Glenelg 6-8-44, Sturt 5-4-34. If you have just joined us, big crowd here at Unley this afternoon, grandstand SANFL football. And in the first quarter, it was Sturt by 4 points, despite the fact the Bays did have the breeze. Sturt led by 4 points. And then at halftime, it was a 9-point lead for the Double Blues, as boys working hard to get that ball back from the tennis courts.
Why wouldn't we have an extra ball down there? I mean, the ball's going to go over the tennis courts. I mean, what's going on?
Tough.
Can you organise that for us?
Tough financial times, $150 a ball.
I was going to raise that. Sturt, I think they're on course to just make a profit. The Bays, on the other hand, will make a big one, from what I understand. So the ball back into play, and that's a free kick off the ball, goes to Code, and the Double Blues fans rejoice. They reckon they've been hard done by a couple of times. Code comes to this side of the ground. Interesting decision. McGlone running for him. He'll be the next man in line. He'll have to take this, or he's under pressure. The latter happens. He doesn't take it. He's under pressure from Allen, who slides in over the top.
No way, umpire.
Well, Allen came up with the ball, and as Rob suggested, no way, because he was at all times going to the ball. And it was Jensch who slipped, and that's how he ended up with a free kick.
Coaches put a big emphasis on contested ball. How on earth can you... Yeah.
You can't. He's attacked the ball. There's no free kick in that whatsoever.
Jensch down the line. Fiddick's run was taken away brilliantly by Panozzo, and that allowed Cranston to take the mark for the Bays. They'll go back long into attack. Code going back, missed it. Running onto it and looking for the free kick, and getting the free kick is Plant. Well, how much was in that one, given everything we've seen?
Well, Robert Plant, I reckon he played that quite well. You can see there, he did enough to make sure that the Sturt player wanted to put some pressure on, almost tackling him, and then at the last minute he dived forward.
And he kicks the minor score with that breeze again, doing its vicious work on the ball.
Well, he kicked that like the guitarist for Led Zeppelin, not a Glenelg player.
He just gently strummed it.
Yes.
Done a lot better than that. Code, who's been quite outstanding today. to Bowen, back to Code. He's really on. Long penetrating kick at the back. James Plant. He's got it, collected, flew for the mark and then went to ground nicely. Payne fed it back to Sheedy. Plenty of elevation in that kick. Standing under it was Crane, but knocking it away with a big height advantage was Button, and it'll be a ball in. Been impressed with Button from what you've seen this year. Rob hasn't had the biggest of days today, but looks like a player.
Well, he certainly does, particularly moving to the next level. You can imagine him with a few extra skillful players around him will become a better player again.
Yeah, a bit of conditioning too. Here's Ruwalt. Tried to get it to Kane. Kane did pretty well back to Allen. Allen looks, assesses, hit the boot. Kirk! Well, he thought his way through that, Ty Allen, and just found a bit of space in front of himself, and Kirk was out on a lead. And when you're in front, you'll almost get everything.
Well, great play by Allen, kicking on his stuffed knee, and he's drilled that.
He has.
Sorry, Allen, block. Getting confused. They do look alike, those two.
He had the stuffing taken out of him early. That's
he
what
did. It was his shoulder.
Who's stuffed now?
Kirk, the Starship Enterprise. Good-looking kick is there. They have slipped away to a 17-point advantage, Glenelg, and they've set a task in the last quarter for the Double Blues. Good kick, Kirk.
Well, we said earlier in this quarter, a side that can kick 3 or 4 goals in a row may well do enough to win the game. Glenelg have done that. They've moved the ball quickly into their forward line. They've found some space and they've kept the ball low when they've gone into the forward line. Not kicking the ball over their heads like we saw in the first half. Interesting to note if this will be enough in terms of the lead. Remember, Sturt will come home with a win.
Well, there are some mirror images in this game. Sturt led by 17 points in the second quarter at the 19-minute mark. Now 24 minutes into the third quarter, it's Glenelg's time. That was over the line, and Meyer will be forced to give it up to the boundary umpire.
See there, the whole ball over the line, only just. He's been a good player since moved forward, Meyer.
Just again, if you've just joined us, the umpire's in Red Sox this afternoon for the Heart Foundation, raising money. Charity round for the SANFL. Allen tries to force his way through. Got it, McConnell. Great dummy. The finish not worthy of the dummy. Maybe he'll have a dummy spit now.
Made himself look like a dummy by missing it.
Tell you what, there's a few players around him who were having a dummy spit. There was 3 on the burst calling for the footy. Decided to take responsibility and didn't deliver.
3 points this afternoon for Justin McConnell. But don't worry. He can hurt you in about 5 minutes. He can kick freak goals, but he's going to have to work hard today. Kurtz and also Cranston. Payne, quick hands. Nelson, hard, tough body. So too Allen. Didn't play for a free kick, genuinely went to ground there. And the umpire will come in and ball it up. Kurtz knocking it down. Play going nowhere at the moment. So an 18-point lead to the Bays. And let's have a look. They trailed by 4 at quarter time, 9 points at half time, and they'll take a lead into 3/4 time. Sheedy to Nelson. Free kick against Plant to Liebelt.
Liebelt, who's had a pretty good quarter, and Plant's given away 25 by handballing the ball to Johncock instead of Liebelt. And the umpire has taken every bit of 25 and maybe 5 metres more. Inside 50. Tim Pfeiffer stands and says to Jeremy Johncock, here's where the mark is. Michael Liebelt to take the kick. Late in the quarter, 27.5 minutes, important time. Liebelt's kicked just the 1 goal for the season. 1 goal straight. And now he has 2 straight. And the Bays have skipped out by 24 points.
Well, I suppose the disappointing thing for Sturt at the moment is there's just that lack of pressure where they were so good early in the game. They just haven't been the same this quarter. You can see here Johncock's reaction, looking at him saying, what the hell did you hand pass the ball to me for? And that was just dumb in anyone's book. Makes that pretty easy for the umpire. Makes that decision pretty easy, that is.
Bit of a swingman, Liebelt, can play up forward, down back, so hasn't had that many opportunities. Free kick, and the crowd love it because Jensch has got a free kick in the centre of Unley Oval, and they need to get a wriggle on Sturt. They need a goal, and there's a $6 million man, Lucas Block. We could rebuild him, and they did. He kicks high. Kirkby in front. Spillage has to rove his own ball. Kirkby paddled nicely to Willoughby. Oh, that's brilliant play by Avery. He keeps getting better, this young bloke. Here's Payne. Spun in the tackle. Kurtz delayed nicely to Jensch. Jensch drew a man to Evans. He's about to get mown down by Backwell. Oh, he's got some closing speed, the little mouse.
Fantastic tackle. Just got low in the tackle. Used his legs, drove with his legs.
Chip to Ruwalt, so they reload again to the base. Ruwalt close to the line. Got a bit confused. Got a big shepherd there. Murphy on Evans. He kicks high. Kirk! The big man offering a little bit of something. The vertical leap from Kirk, and once he gets in front, he's very tough to get. Let's have a look at this shepherd, Rob.
Well, it's a beautiful shepherd. You can see here, Evans just saw it coming. Kept low, no free kick. Once again, Glenelg find that target inside their forward 50.
He's been able to take a couple of catches, Daniel Kirk. 2 goals for the season. And one was at the 25-minute mark. Daniel Kirk, this would be for a 5-goal lead. From right on 50, we'll get the distance. It's coming back, but not far enough. It's a 25-point lead to the Bays as we tick into the 30-minute mark of the third term.
There's that nice shepherd again. See there, Ruwald gaining space. Tell you what, Kirk's been instrumental this quarter. He's just straightened Glenelg up when they've gone forward. Gives them a target.
Code with an awful kick in. Forced to do some work. Jensch made him work too. Then he chipped it up to Bratton. Sturt looking to move the ball. Their run's been shut down just at the moment. Umpire will eventually say no advantage, bring it back. Evans with the free kick for the high shot. So Evans looks down the line. McAlone, he was running hard early, but it's dried up for the double blues. Down to half forward, the kick punched away nicely. Panozzo the other way, look at that. That ball's carried 60, 70 metres. Kirk couldn't pull it down. Spread the pack though. Code at the back, cleans up McGlone again. Loose on centre wing. Over the top to Avery. He cuts inside to the corridor. Evans just able to pull in the mark. Willoughby policing it pretty well. 31 minutes beyond that in the third term. Evans keeps the ball low. Brave work from Gum going back, couldn't take it. And at 3/4 time, the Bays have a significant break. And most of it came through that time on period.
See here that big leap. Not quite a mark. I think pretty important for Glenelg. As Kirk is one of those players who can move forward, move back. He can even pinch in the ruck. Great quarter by Glenelg. It was their handball and their run, particularly through the midfield, that got them into the game. And then they were able to find some targets free inside 50 in that third quarter.
25 points to margin at 3/4 time, and finally a side has taken advantage of the breeze. Used it pretty well, the Bays. Threw Kirk up forward, found some run through the midfield, no doubt about that. That was really handy for them.
Well, it started early with Murphy's goal, and you can see here Glenelg using the handball through the midfield. They're the #1 handballing team. They're able to just lower the kick slightly, and I'm sure that Mick can address that at half-time. Using the wind, not kicking the ball too hard when going inside forward 50. They were able to find some free targets. Once again, handball through the midfield. Pushing hard forward, running. This was that controversial decision. Certainly got the crowd excited. Not too happy, I would imagine, from the majority of the crowd here that it is Sturt. That was an advantage to Glenelg. And Glenelg, they were just harassing and had too much of the ball that quarter for Sturt.
And significantly, goals to Kirk and Liebelt in time on, stretching that margin out at 3/4 time to 25 points. Certainly all that run that Sturt had has seem to dissipate a bit in that quarter. They'll need a lot more run in the final term. It's 5-4-34. Sturt, as you see, only scoring 1 point in that third quarter. And the Tigers 8-11-59, a 5-goal term for them, 5-5 in fact.
Well, as you can see, they're all individual goal kickers, and a notable absentee on the other side is Chambers. You can see there, disappointing game for him. Mills once again has his measure.
Kirk, Ruwalt and Meyer, 3 players who've spent an interesting amount of time in defence. Liebelt, another one, interesting times in defence, and yet they've gone up forward, managed to kick goals this afternoon. Through the stats now, and again we'll see the dominance of the inside 50s for the Tigers.
Yeah, it was disappointing that quarter for Sturt. They had hardly any inside 50s. You can see there for the game, 18-44. Now Glenelg, if they continue on their current rate, should end up in excess of 50 inside 50s. Generally, if you have that amount of ball, you tend to win. Once again, though, if you look at the kicks and handballs, Sturt once again dominating there, pegged back a little bit by Glenelg in the third quarter.
Well, it's time now to call up a man who'd be a little bit worried at this stage, and that's the Chief Executive of the Sturt Football Club, Matt Benson. And Matt, thanks for joining us. You're not really here to talk about the game. I'm sure you probably don't want to talk about the game at the moment, but rather of days gone past and a past players SANFL association that you've been a big part of forming.
Crossy, thank you. Yes, obviously today is disappointing as far as the third quarter for Sturt, but a great turnout, and hopefully they can pull it back in the last quarter. But on the past players luncheon that we've organised for later in this week, really the opportunity there is to get guys who've been involved around clubs, whether that's as a player or as an official or in a coaching capacity or as a volunteer. Want to get all of those people back to support this event on Friday. Malcolm Blight's coming down from Queensland to support the event. Tony Simons has been helping me out with Roger Woodcock and Bob Swanson from South, notably. Neil Curley's going to be a special guest. Russell Ebert's going to be there. We're hoping to make it a great day, but importantly, Neil, we're wanting to emphasise it's not about 200 game players or McGarry medalists. It's about guys who have been involved at a footy club in the past and getting them back around the club maybe in the future through an event such as this.
Is this, for you and Tony Simons, essentially, as I understand, formed the idea? Is this sort of a thing to get players back to clubs and involved again, or is it just the camaraderie that comes with those past players and something that we haven't seen in SANFL football?
A couple of the clubs do it well, Nick. The Bays have a very good past players association, and so with West Adelaide. The rest of the clubs struggle a bit. I think Port Adelaide do a pretty good job, but it's a critical mass issue. It's very hard to organise an event. A lot of the clubs are under-resourced as it is, so putting together events for past players is not something that's necessarily a priority. We just felt it was an opportunity to bring together all of the resources of the clubs, look at getting into the databases and contacting those players and hopefully getting them back involved. And, you know, we're possibly going to sign up as a sponsor one of the past players we've contacted in the last 3 or 4 weeks, because he's now back around the club and wants to be a part of it. So that's a little bit of a spin-off, but it's really just about getting that SANFL family back together again.
Matt, Robert Pyman here. Just wondering, have you had any assistance from the AFL, Past Players Association?
No, look, we have. It's really in its infancy, Robert. You know, all we're trying to do is get 150 to 200 here on Friday, and then very happy to look at other examples of how this can work. I'm trying to tell Tony he'd be a wonderful chairman of a past players committee. So Simo, I'm sure, with the guys like Bob Swanson and Roger Woodcock, should come together and keep this moving, which would be great.
Well, good luck, Matt, and hopefully we'll see it get stronger and stronger in the future.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Matt Benson, the CEO of the Sturt Football Club. They've got a job in front of them here at three-quarter time. Sodas, you've been listening into the Double Blues.
Yeah, it certainly is a massive job for them. Luke Norman came down, he said this is a 6-goal breeze. He said there's no problems at all trying to kick some goals with this breeze at all. Mentioned that we as Sturt are the best team in the competition when we have the football. That's what he's told the boys, so just pumping up the confidence there. Also, Glenelg need to keep in mind they did kick 2 goals against the breeze in that second term, so they are able to score against it. There's no problems there. Brant Chambers will be down at full forward as we expect. Angus Kurtz will partner him side by side down there. Everyone up at half forward. Michael Coates at half back, but expect him to come up to the wing or to half forward during that quarter.
Thanks for that. Soda's set to go for what should be a very interesting fourth quarter here at Unley. Here's Michael Maney.
Well, Sturt booted 9 goals to zip against West last week in the last quarter at this venue. So they need to repeat the dose if they're any chance, or not perhaps 9 goals, but they need a big last quarter, Rob, don't they? They do obviously come home pretty hard, and they'll need to nail a few early.
They do. They've got the wind at the back. They've got every opportunity. They've got the home ground advantage, so it's all set before them.
Last quarter, Sturt v Glenelg. Unley Oval. Cranston double-fisted down to Allen. Allen, who's kept running all day. Kirkby in front, couldn't take the mark. Avery's been pretty good on him today. Over the shoulder, free kick will go to the Double Blues. And it'll go to Michael Bratton. Bratton from half-back. Looking for something. McGlone gave him something. Ball flicks over the back. Might run on okay for Bode. Just lost track of it. Mills, the skipper, made a statement. Grabbed the footy and went to Hall. Over the top he had Meyer. But there's a tall man on the mark, which was Code, so he just held on and then delivered nicely to Meyer, who ran into some space. He was lively in the second term, Danny Meyer, when pushed up forward. Started down back, but he's been pretty handy all day. That kick is pretty good and finds Ben Kane. And let's have a look. A couple of leads coming, but Kane might just have a dip at them from here.
Tough kick, but it's not beyond him. He's a skillful player. See there, not a huge amount of confidence in his kicking ability with that wind, particularly at this angle.
They're hard at the left goal post here. It's a good kick, but it's been dragged away. Up they fly. No one can take it. Ruwalt with the crumb. Back well. In goes Meyer, taken to ground, and it'll be a ball up. First goal so important. You just get the feeling if Glenelg get it, it might take a bit of wind out of the Double Blues sails. Ball knocked down. Murphy got at the boot, didn't go 15, flicked over the back. Opportunity for the Bays. Ball just booted out of bounds. Fiddick there, and it'll be a ball in. Another chance for Glenelg to do a little something. A lot of players inside the 50 here at the moment. Cranston, huge leap. Backwell fed it off. Ruwalt tried to find some space. Well done, Crane. Decided to just belt it away, but Liebelt got in the way and took the mark, or was it? Might have been touched, but Liebelt got it quickly to Panozzo.
Panozzo tried to square it for Kane. He missed him, but they have numbers again. Block quickly on the boot for Murphy. He couldn't take it as Sheedy came across. Murphy followed up. Backwell and Murphy. And then Murphy gets it across to Hall. And then back to Murphy. And then a goal. Oh, slick stuff from the Bays.
Spot on, Crossy. Slick is the word, and they have been slick, particularly with their handball skills. #1 handballing team. We've made mention of that. You can see here, 1 give, 2 gives, Hall, 3 gives. Just allowing the player just to have enough space. Murphy, with his second goal, enough space to be able to kick that goal. But it's really been set up through the midfield with their run and their handball. On that occasion, it was in their forward 50, but they have been quick with the hands today.
Easily the biggest lead of the day, 31 points. Crane loads up inside 50, ball thumped away. Plant and Panozzo. Yench needs to get involved here as well. Held off the football, no free kick. He dive on it, John Cock missed it. Bode over the top, here's a chance for Gum. He needs to steady, right footer, kicks a goal. Back to 25. The Double Blues needed to respond quickly. They did.
Well, it's a great reply. That's Gum's second goal. Nice thing about handball initially was good, but the nice thing about Gum was he didn't panic. He didn't run on his left foot. He did hesitate there for a second. Should I go right or left? Being a right footer, he made the right decision. Always go for your preferred foot if you possibly can.
17 possessions for Tristan Gum today, only behind Sheedy and Code, who had 23 for the Double Blues.
Centre breaks become crucial now. Cranston high and knocked it down beautifully to Bock. Lazarus rises and kicks the ball long. Code backing into the pack. And Ruwalt trapped, and we'll get a ball up. Tony Day throws it up. Brilliant knockdown by Bowen. Off the outside of Sheedy's boot wide. Gum. And then blocked coming in late on him. Ball out of bounds. They've been tough and hard, the Bays, and they've really were made to work hard for the first half and then broke it open in that third quarter. Crane and Backle eventually went for that ball as the ruckman wrestled each other out of the way, and off the ball, wait on the umpire. He's coming, no. Tim Pfeiffer had their hands in the air that he saw that Backle was knocked over illegally after the ball went over the line. Cranston and Bowen, and Cranston will get the free kick. Bowen had a fistful of jumper, and Cranston will quickly give it to Kane, who's a long kick, and he just thumps it high. Code in front, should take it, does brilliantly for the Double Blues. They want to spread quickly. Bode is in the centre square and signalling where he wants the ball. They go for Bode. He had numbers on him. Mules intercepted, and 25 metres out, they've got a mark to Ruwalt.
Been impressed with Ruwalt's game today. He's found plenty of the ball, not only in the forward line, but through the midfield. Bode generally a pretty good kick, but the captain's been good today.
Just a 50-50 kick, wasn't it? And Glenelg had plenty of numbers running behind there, and so Mules just made the most of it.
Well, he read it better than anyone else. Maybe it wasn't the best kick by Code, but he was trying to move the ball quickly. That's what Sturt have to do if they're going to win the game.
Mark Ruwalt from the prolific southeast zone of the Glenelg Football Club from South Gambia, where he played 40 games of football before coming up to the big smoke, and he's just pushed that one across the goals. And that would have all but ended, I reckon, the Sturt challenge.
I think you're right there, Crossy. There's no player today that I can recall that's kicked the goal from that angle, that side of the ground. That wind is just proving too difficult.
Long kick by McGlone, almost to Mark Kirkby. It'll go back as quick as it came. The Kirkby kick, terrible. Fiddick slung in the tackle, got it to Payne. Double Blues need a very quick goal. No free kick to Plant. Crowd wanted it. Murphy just left it behind. In goes Bowen. Ball just squeezes out like a pip out of an orange. Here goes Payne to Avery. Avery's kick looking for Chambers, who's just had no sniff of it today at all. Mules has been outstanding. His handball chopped off by Yench. He's got problems. And he's dumped. And it was dropping the ball, and I thought he might have handballed it personally, but anyway. Umpire's a lot closer than we are. Yench took him on and came off second best. Panozzo with the free. They made a charge, Sturt. 7 minutes gone. Final turn. Panozzo can afford to wait. Soak up a bit of time, even though it's only the 7-minute mark. Short to Murphy. Just slow it down. Murphy thought about going back to Panozzo and now does. Who's spreading to the outer side? No one. Sturt have been pretty good here. They've manned up nicely, and they're not going to give away an easy kick. Panozzo soaks up a bit more time as we tick almost to 8 minutes. So this play has taken about 30 to 40 seconds. Then he kicks high. The wind catches it. Kurtz knocks it down. Cabillo just went before he had the footy, and Nelson over the top, and the umpire says, give it to me.
Well, Glenelg will be pretty happy with soaking up time. They won't be too bothered. Sturt will need to get a hurry on.
Avery casually takes the mark. Looks like he might even be carrying an injury. He's on centre wing. The Double Blues need to move it quicker than this. Avery decides to take the punt. Go for Code. Opposed to Allen, who is holding, according to the umpire. Double Blues fans very happy with that as Ty Allen argues the toss with Tim Pfeiffer.
Well, it's a nice option, that kick.
Don't know if there was 6 or 1, half a dozen another in that, but you're right. They squared the ball to the man who had the marking option better than his opponent. Code, who's very capable to kick this distance with the breeze. He'll have to carry it 60 metres. He gives it a big chance. He gives it every chance.
Well, it was a good option kicking the ball to Code, who ran off half back. You can see he's making his way back to position now. It's a good option due to the fact that against his direct opponent, he had a height advantage and his superior mark, but he's also a thumping kick. can see there, he's kicked the ball on the edge of the centre square, and that's gone through post high. I'd like to see what Mark Soderstrom said at three-quarter time. I'd like to see Code push forward, particularly that Chambers isn't getting a lot of the ball.
Cranston across to Willoughby. The Bays have had all the answers. The left footer is good to Meyer, who's done that lead-up roll to Hall. Hall's kick partially smothered by Code, doing it at both ends. Daldig, handball, chopped off. Code's got it again. Has he played a game? And then he's decided to kick long, and that's well into the crowd. It's about the first mistake we've seen Michael Code make all day.
That was a rush kick. But he's under a bit more pressure. No need to kick the top.
His 23rd and worst kick.
Yes, 4 goals, 4 coming into the game, and booted that one for his 5th of the year. And short kick by Backwell is marked by Meyer. Now Meyer punches long. They're hoping for a mark. Getting back was Kirk, couldn't take it. Handball by Ruwalt, looking for Adlington, who's been quiet. And he takes it to the line, boundary throw in. Near pressure on. What does it mean for those guys? Ian Callanan there, you can see. Yes. Just watching and waiting, analysing. Here's Murphy, out, Allen, nailed by Evans. He took him on, I would have thought, but no free kick.
I don't think there's any doubt. He saw him coming, backed into him. We know that shoulder was a problem at the end of last season. He was operated on, had a late start to this season. McConnell, his vision was excellent. Tried to get the 1-2, went to block, chipped it wide to the captain and Mules. Played on, he was like a cat, just came down, gave it to Allen, wanted a hand pass, Ruwalt into goal, and Ruwalt misses from point blank. That side of the ground, don't even try to kick a goal.
It's amazing, isn't it? The one person today has kicked a goal from that side of the ground.
The Pyman curse. You put a curse on that side of the ground. Yeah, 1 goal, 3 to Mark Ruwalt. The long kick out. And happy to set over the line was Josh Willoughby with a left shoulder strap. Well, time ticking away for Sturt. We're about to go into 12 minutes. And they desperately need a couple of quick goals. 21 points, the margin. Cranston down, Backwell. Quick, solid hands. Plant, held without it. He'll get the free kick. James Plant of the Sturt Football Club. Thought about going with a handball to Avery. Most are manned up. You just think he's got to get it long, and they can hope for a crummer. Herring, it's his first mark for a long time, Ryan Herring. Hasn't taken many today. He's the league's leading mark taker, but it's been a quiet one for him. Shorts it up to Gum. Gum, right on the line. John Cock. Mules has been very, very good in the last 10 minutes or so. Handball over the top, Panozzo. Willoughby caught. Bretton got him cold. Ball held to him. It'll be a ball up. All sorts of pressure on in this last term as time ticks away.
Well, Plant, who'd just come on the ground through the interchange area, took it briefly for the Bays. It goes another 20 metres towards Sturt's goal. Out of bounds again. Jack Odie's stand as full as I've seen it for quite some time. That's where the umpire will throw the ball in front of. Oh, Yench, or rather, the big ruckman knocking it away for Sturt and Kurtz. Hard work done by Crane. Now he's caught by Plant. We'll get another ball up. Oh, and Plant reels out of there. Holding a jaw. Don't know how much there was in that. Button knocks it down. Garnett just got away from him. Important time of the game now. Bays have held sway by 21 points. Kurtz knocks it down. Crane opposed to Panozzo. And Panozzo deftly goes towards the line. Soaking up pressure, soaking up time. The Glenelg Football Club at the moment. Kurtz had the right idea, just tried to belt it forward again. Cabillo taken down by Hall. Another baller.
Well, if Sturt are any opportunity to win this game, they need to clear the ball from these stoppages. They need a third man up option and someone streaming onto the ball.
Cabillo tried to be just that. Yench thought about the handball and then curled it back nicely to give Bowen a chance, but that's all Bays. Knocked it away. That defence has been rock solid. Plant, real worm burner, looking for Backwell. He just composes himself and got it to Kane. Now there's a high ball. Hall didn't want to take possession and thumped it away, and they stand over him and said Jeremy Johncock might have just muttered a few words in his ear and said, well, why didn't you grab that?
Well, either way, Glenelg will be pretty happy. There were some players there trying to hit the ball to. A few of them, Sturt players, not too happy with that.
It was a pretty good play. Cabillo drops the footy on the blind side of the umpire. Backwell over the top to Kane. Willoughby. Bayes really running at the moment. His long kick. McConnell is clever, but Plant got in front. Did outstandingly well. Kurtz clean bowled him. In goes Kane. Collared by Sheedy. Tackling's been a feature. In goes McGlone. He emerges. He wants to kick it long off the outside of the boot. Poor kick by McGlone. Spots and picks out Panozzo. And then Mules, who's been very good in this last quarter, has got Murphy.
Murphy in space. You're going to look for Kirkby on the leader. Kirkby's been great at that all day. He was being held, he was being pushed and punched from behind as well. And he got all 3 free kicks. The left footer just takes his time now. Waiting for an option. Inside 50 Hall. He was short. Doldig came on the run. Doldig on 50. On the ground on the eastern side where it's been so hard to kick a goal this afternoon. And so what does he do? He goes even wider onto that side of the ground to Murphy. Bayes just trying to work the ball around. Mules back behind him, but instead he went to Doldig. Again, he'll have to kick it across the breeze to get the goal. Matty Doldig. Now, I seem to remember last year in round 13, from a similar angle at the Bay, Doldig kicked this goal that when you least expected it. Matt Doldig, what's he do this time? Well, he's done what you'd expect this time. He's kicked it out on the full.
The Pyman curse.
It is that, the Pyman triangle.
Very much. Well, there haven't been too many that have kicked goals straighter. I don't think anyone's going to kick one from the boundary line. So.
Yeah, no hope there. Matty Doldig really. As Sheedy, oh, surprise, plucking round 13 out, Neil, that was very impressive. Here's Button and hits Willoughby on the button. And then he gives off to Hall. Didn't kick, over the top, Allen, the 1-2. Hall drills it low, and Kirkby has been very good for them this afternoon. He's just kept running. He hasn't hurt them on the scoreboard, Rory Kirkby, just the 1-goal one. And he's got a shot from 47.
Would expect, going on previous shots at goal, that he may well be too far out.
Might just die on him. He's got a good piece of it. Right to the line. Up they go. Kurtz, Plant, and an opportunity. Doldig, Johncock, or Ruwalt. He's tackled. And a ball up. Desperate times for the Sturt Football Club. This last quarter won't go too long. You think it's only had three goals kicked. Ball up. Well done by Cabillo to get it to Walk. Then away to Evans. They need to find some run from somewhere. Evans wants the line and finds it. Boundary throw in. Well, you think they kicked their first goal of this quarter at the 3-minute mark. Before that was the 19-minute mark of the second term. So they need another quickie.
Well, they've made the Mark Soderstrom move. They've pushed Code forward. Roy Laird ponders the fact that he'll only be at the top of the ladder for half a day, because Glenelg, if they win, will go there by the end of this evening.
Might only be there for about another 10 minutes, I think, Rob.
I think you're right. Certainly the way Sturt are slowly pushing the ball forward. They need some quick movement. They've pushed Code forward, maybe a little too late.
Third man up, as suggested by Rob Pyman, but the Bays have read it best. Willoughby approaching 50, chip pass. McConnell with 2 grabs takes it. Again, though, he's in the Pyman triangle.
The cursed triangle.
It's like being sort of wrecked on a reef over there, isn't it?
Good luck, I say.
Well, if anybody
have
can
taken
do
the
it,
last 14 marks inside 50.
if anybody can do the kick from there. It would be McConnell who tries to chip it off instead, and Sturt intercepting. There's a problem for Sheedy now, because on this side of the ground, Meyer had just come onto the ground and Sturt had no numbers. The long kick, going back, taking it Button. Button's got back well short. He's got runners inside Plants. He spotted him nicely. Meyer was running and so was Willoughby. He belts it long, 20 from goal. Hands in the back coming from Doldig. Umpire says it's a mark.
Well, I think you're right there, Crossy. He had his hands in his back. Certainly gave him a little nudge, a push. The umpire said it wasn't enough for a free kick. Have a look at this replay. Willoughby's been good today, pushing ball in forward. There's the hands in the back. No free kick.
Meanwhile, from the edge of the triangle, he kicks a minor score.
Shouldn't laugh, gosh. I think everybody's the same. Everybody in the crowd can't believe it. Very hard to kick from that side of the ground today. And that was perhaps the easiest shot of the day from that side of the ground.
It was. Here's McGlone. They'd be desperate to just pump it long. Fennick! Couldn't take the mark. Good leap. And then the ball locked in, James Plant. Would have been nice if for the highlights reel for Patrick Fiddick. Was a nice leap. Jumped a bit too high. Just jumped over the top of it. Bowen down. Nelson trying to barge his way through. Can't do so. All locked in. 21 gone. You would think a 22-point lead to the Bays will be enough to get them over the line. Sheedy trying hard. Back away to Evans. In goes Yanks, but the more stoppages we have in the next couple of minutes will play right into the Tigers' hands.
Today's been dominated by intensity and pressure from both sides. Sturt in particular in the first half, and then their work rate has dropped off. Glenelg the exact opposite. Early in the game, their work rate was down. Their intensity and pressure has picked up dramatically in the last half.
It's coming off a bye, so they'd be relatively fresh. But then again, Sturt a couple of weeks ago had a bye, so they'd be pretty cherry ripe for this one.
That's right, Robbie. In the first quarter, Sturt had 45 more possessions, and now it's dead level at 279 each.
And they've let the Dogs off the chain. They've gone.
What if Double Blues supporters be thinking about doing the same thing, I think. Ball squared up by Willoughby for Mules. Mules has got Kirk running for him, and he knew it. He just set it up and said, Kirk or Button, take your pick. Kirk got it. Just thumped it inside 50. The ball floats. Doldig at the front, couldn't get foot to ball. And now the tackle made on McConnell, and the umpire content to throw it up. It was Avery who came in there with the tackle, Tony Day, the umpire in question. The ball thumped down. Double Blues work it out the back again. McGlone dropped it in short. Allen came across the front, and it's out of bounds yet again. Clock stops. It's 22, counting on towards 23 minutes in this final quarter. A low-scoring game. As Rob said, pressure has dominated, and for half a game it was the Double Blues, and since half-time it's really opened up for the Bays, and the Double Blues run and drive through the packs has just gone. Here's Plant, inside 50. Avery with the mark. They'll try and spread it quickly, you'd think. Down the middle he's got Walk. He's in a lot of space, but instead he goes wide. He goes wide for Evans, too wide. That ball surely will go over the boundary, it does.
This hasn't been a good day. There's Bowen in the middle there, and to his right is Jace Bode and Josh Cabillo. Just watching on. They have a look of inevitability about them, that they're going to lose this match. Backwell shorts it up and finds Plant. This is Robert Plant. Wobbly old ball in the Pyman Bermuda area, and it is knocked out of play. Triangular zone.
Triangular zone.
Nothing much going on from out there today. Well, the crowd, you would think, about to leave. See if you can find your car after you've parked about 4 kilometres away. Here's Block. Back to Doldig. Kurtz and Doldig grapple. taken by McGlone. Been pretty good in his 100th game today, Scotty McGlone. And then the kick, turned it over to Button, to Mules, and back to the running Button. Button kicks precisely, looking for Kirkby over the back. Sheedy just slips the tackle too easy on McConnell. And then he finds Bratton. Bratton will just pump it long. He'll hope for a herring mark. Sets himself. Liebelt did pretty well. But knock it away. Yench went without it. And here's another opportunity. Adlington goes to Doldig.
Doldig was good below the knees. Gave it to little man in Allen. His kick spotted. Oh no, well he didn't. He was looking for, but didn't find Meyer. Now plant wide. Kirkby's been good this afternoon. Oh, and another poster.
Interesting to note, both teams have attacked at that side of the ground, on the opposite side of the ground to what Kirkby had that shot, with no luck. But on this side of the ground, they've kicked more goals.
Well, case of being pushed onto that side of the ground by the defensive side.
Could well be, but they seem to be attacking from that wing as well.
Just 15 goals in total today. Glenelg 9-15, Sturt 7-4, Cranston.
He's been fantastic since quarter time, Trevor Cranston. Don't underestimate his impact he has on the Glenelg team.
Works so hard in the air and on the ground. Here's Lucas Block. Kicks it out, looking for Button. Here's Ruwald. Can he break the deadlock? And he won't do it. He's had a pretty interesting day, Mark Ruwald. 4 behinds, 1 goal.
And the busiest player with 23 possessions.
9-16 to 7-4, 24 points to margin. As the Double Blues struggle again to get it out of their defensive area. It's been the story of the second half. It's been the story now of the match. It's Glenelg again, too good for Sturt. 3 times this season they've beaten the Double Blues. In round 1 by 33 points, in round 12 by 42, and now in round 21 it's Glenelg by 24 points at the Unley Oval in a fairly uninspiring an uninspiring game from the Double Blues, and certainly in the second half the Tigers were superior. Down to Sodas, he's with Byron Murphy.
Well, Byron, a game where I suppose early on you found it pretty hard as a team, but you're able to crack it open.
Yeah, no, we worked hard. We knew it was going to be hard all day sort of thing, but that's what we do. Just that's our game, just pressure, keep it at them, and in the end it sort of paid for itself.
Just watching from the sidelines, appeared to be a real fierceness about the tackling and the hits from both sides early on. Did you just feel like there's a bit more intensity out there?
Yeah, I think there's a lot on the line at the moment coming into finals. I mean, obviously everybody wants to sort of go in there with a bit of form, so I mean that's what we were doing, just getting ready for finals pretty much.
Yeah, Sturt, of course, one of those sides along with Central that will challenge you guys. You're 3 for 3 from them. What is it that you've got the wood over them?
Oh, I couldn't put my finger on it. Maybe, you know, we just know if we keep pressure on them the whole day, generally, I wouldn't say they crumble, but we sort of come out on top.
Personally, too, a couple of nice goals, especially in the last quarter, just to really put things beyond doubt from them.
No, I'll take them. A bit lucky, but, you know, we'll take them every day of the week.
Good on you, mate. The boys at Frankston will be very proud. Well done.
Cheers, Sodas.
Byron Murphy recruited after 53 games with Frankston in the VFL to the Glenelg Football Club, and here's how his afternoon unfolded.
Well, he was a good player. He's had 21 possessions, 8 kicks, 13 handballs, and finished with 2 goals. You can see that goal there. Within the first minute of the third quarter, really did spark Glenelg. And from that point on, it was one-way traffic. There's his goal late in the game. He's a happy man, and he's been a good recruit for the Glenelg Footy Club.
1 goal, 5 in the last quarter for Glenelg, enough to overcome Sturt. Remembering they were kicking into the breeze, the Bays. Sturt kicked 2 goals in the last quarter to Glenelg's 1 goal, 5. Double Blues just waiting to go off the ground. Scotty McGlone, the player who'll lead them off in his 100th game this afternoon. Of course, Chris Hall playing his 100th for the Bays, coming out in front and on top this afternoon. And interestingly, of course, both players starting their SANFL careers at the South Adelaide Football Club.
It's been a long list of players that have left the South Adelaide Footy Club in the last 2 years. You can see Chris Hall getting chaired off, McGlone saying he did not want to be. obviously due to the fact that they had a loss. Chris Hall, happy man. Glenelg, very happy indeed.
Well, it's only his 11th game for the Bays.
It does seem strange, doesn't it, be cheered on?
He played 89, of course, with South Adelaide, and of course also, I think three premierships, I think it was, for Subiaco in the WA competition, including a best on-ground performance in the grand final last year.
Well, there's no doubt he'll play finals footy for Glenelg this year. It seems to be a correct move at this point in time to say that he wanted to come back to South Australia and play footy for the Glenelg Footy Club.
As we just look, the crowd around there, mostly Bays supporters, as Chris Hall leads his team back into the rooms. Great crowd here at Unley this afternoon. And a match that, as I said, it wasn't a great spectacle. It was certainly dominated, as you said, Rob, by the pressure around the ball, both in the first half, pretty much by the Double Blues, and the second half, definitely by the Tigers.
Yeah, it was quite conflicting the way the game panned out. There's no doubt that Glenelg would be pretty happy. Beating Sturt at Unley Oval was never an easy task, but the way they did it, they just had to grind a win out, and they did that through just sheer work rate and pressure, and their tackling and harassment in the second half was superior.
Games in a row, Glenelg has kept Sturt to a score of under 10 goals. It's impressive stuff, not just the victories, but the score lines against them.
There's no doubt that the Mills-Chambers matchup has a lot to do with that. Mills has been fantastic on Chambers. Chambers, once again, not having a major impact on the game. See here some of the highlights. Enormous amount of courage and large collisions early in the game while both teams were sorting themselves out. It was ugly. It wasn't great spectacle in terms of precision football. It wasn't until the second half that Glenelg started to use their foot skills and find some free targets. The majority of goals in the first half mainly came from passages of play that was just due to the pressure further up the field.
The thing is, the thing that dipped for Sturt in the second half, we saw those few highlights there, Tristan Gum and Ryan Herring getting on the end of a ball and that, but they were able to create numbers and run every single time they turned the ball over, but it just dried up for them. And in contrast, this is action from the third quarter, and a great goal there by Byron Murphy running into the unknown, but they just had their options. Have a look at this from the Bays.
Well, they made a couple of errors. You can see there, hand pass into trouble, but they had the support, they had the run. You can see there, Ben Kane just waiting the ball. So many players in the first half were kicking the ball quite hard into the forward line, and with that wind, it was going over the player's head. The umpire there for Ruwalt called play on. Ruwalt wasn't quite sure if he was going to be paid advantage, had a look around, continued to play. The majority of the Sturt players had stopped. Ruwalt was a very good player today. So was this guy. Don't underestimate him. Copped a heavy knock on that shoulder early in the game. Fiddick lined him up, but he was good enough to bounce back, as was that man there, Block. He went down in that third quarter. It looked like a game-ending knee injury, but in amazing fashion, he bounced back.
That goal from Murphy at the 2-minute mark of the final quarter left it with a game-high advantage to Glenelg of 31 points. Sturt kicking a couple of goals after that, but pretty much it was in control from about halfway through the last quarter. There was no problem in asserting that Glenelg was going to win.
No, and disappointingly, Sturt didn't really give a yelp in front of the home crowd. They had the advantage in that last quarter to utilise the win, but they didn't do it.
Double Blues led by 9 points at half-time. Big third quarter, you see there, was the key to the entire match. 5-goal quarter to nothing in favour of the Tigers, and they led by 25 points at three-quarter time, and they've gone on to record a 24-point win, and that's their third win of the season over the Double Blues. So of the top three sides, they've certainly got the measure of the Double Blues, have Glenelg.
They have indeed. It's been amazing to watch. If we have a look at the statistics inside 50s is the big difference there. Have a look at that. Not often do you see a game that was relatively close for the majority of the game. 64 inside 50s to Glenelg. Now, I don't know if that's a record for them this year, but it certainly would go close. And Sturt, on the flip side, only 23 inside 50s.
I reckon Mark Micken, the coach of Glenelg, knows his stats, and I'm pretty sure he'll know whether that is a record of inside 50s for them this season. He's with Mark Soderstrom.
Well, Mark, you talked a bit about pressure. You just had the boys by the side there. Lots of pressure from both sides, but certainly in that last quarter too against the Breeze, you had some sensational pressure.
Yeah, I thought they finished off the game really well. It was a credit to our fitness and the determination of the players to play the game right out, and I thought they finished it off really well.
Flexibility of the side was tested, I thought, and come up pretty well. You put Danny Meyer up to the forward line against the Breeze, and then Kirk in that third quarter with the Breeze really changed things up a little bit for you too.
Yeah, it's good to have that versatility. We've got a number of players who can play both ends, and we were well rewarded when they did that. And it's a credit to those guys to have the mental flexibility to handle, when they were asked to go to another role, and all those guys did it really well.
And Mark, Neil Cross upstairs. Rob Pyman raised the issue, a record perhaps for you of 60-odd inside 50s. Is that right? Would it be a record? And if that is a record, surely still the conversion is something you've got to wonder about.
Yeah, look, I don't know the record, but in terms of conversion, we certainly have to do that better. We had a lot of scoring shots and missed too many really easy ones, and that's something that didn't cost us the game today, but we've got to certainly work it out and make sure that we put more scoreboard pressure on than we did.
Mark, Robert Pyman upstairs. At half-time, there seemed to be a message from yourself. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe you could elaborate, but the intensity amongst your midfield definitely picked up.
Yeah, we thought at half-time some of our midfielders hadn't quite found the amount of ball that they'd normally get, and just reminded them of that, and they certainly started to pick it up a little bit in the last quarter. I thought, having said that at half-time we were not on the scoreboard in front, but I thought necessarily far in front, but I thought we were, in terms of the way the game was being played, in reasonable shape. But what we needed was just an extra lift from those guys in order to make the performance more complete.
Mark, it's been another very consistent year like last season. Last year, of course, you fell at the final hurdle. What have you changed, and what do you think your team is better at now compared to, say, where you were with that grand final?
Look, I don't want to make any sweeping statements because it's still plenty of time to go, but probably just at the moment they look like they're a bit harder, perhaps, and play games out more strongly. Having played another 12 months together, probably the belief factor is just take another step. But it's all yet to be tested at finals, and we're building towards that. And obviously, there's still some things that we've got to improve on.
Well, Mark, good to watch today. It was certainly a step forward for you guys. I think a lot of hardness out there. So well done. Good luck against the Eagles next week.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks.
Mark Micken, and perhaps a comment on the size of the rooms here at Unley and the fact that the Glenelg Footy Club deciding that the players should maybe walk the boundary as a means of warming down tonight.
Well, they're not the largest facilities at Unley Oval, and it was interesting to note that Glenelg did a warm-up pre-game at a park, and you can see post-game they're also doing a warm-down in a different area apart from the change rooms.
Byron Murphy, we've already talked about, important player for them, and we also talked through the highlights about running into the unknown, and here was the case as he gets our goal of the day.
Well, he deserves a goal of the day for the amount of courage shown there. You can see the ball was weighted for him to run onto, but he didn't balk, and he kept his eye on the ball, and he kicked the goal, finished with 21 possessions, Byron Murphy.
Important cog in the wheel of the Tigers machine is Byron Murphy, the only multiple goal kicker for the Tigers this afternoon. The other side of the ledger, Tristan Gum with 2 goals. He kicked one at the 7-minute mark of the second quarter and one at the 3-minute mark of the final quarter. And only 7 goals for the Double Blues this afternoon. One of their many problems, I would have thought, coming out of this match. As we look now at the mark of the day, and James Plant, one of the 2 brothers on the ground, but one playing, of course, in Robert for the Bays and James playing for the Double Blues. Good mark.
Yeah, great mark. Running back with the flight of the ball. He's had 11 possessions and 5 marks, finished with a goal. So not a bad day out for James Plant.
Let's have a look through some of the better players on the ground. We'll start with Ben Kane. Now, he is a crucial running player for the Tigers. Now, there's no doubt about that. He plays a major role, and in fact, 2 years ago, won their best in fairest. He has had his time off, if you like. He hasn't been in the greatest of form, but he's certainly come back this afternoon and showed his class.
Well, he started the season a little slower than his lofty heights of the previous season, but I think particularly as we get to the pointy end of the season, as finals approach, his intensity and work ethic and game has really picked up, and today he was very good. On a couple of occasions we saw him just go inside that forward 50 with nice precision kick, just waiting the ball, and very good player.
And if you're interested, this is his third season at the Bay, and therefore under the new rules to come in a couple of years' time, he is qualified now as a local, is Ben Kane. Speaking of locals, Ben Mules, very important player, classy player, and not given the credit I reckon he deserves sometimes, Ben Mules, for his ability to read the ball across half-back for the Bays.
Well, he's just such a versatile player. He can play on talls and smalls. He's always that third person up to help out his tall defenders. He's finished with the game with 18 possessions, 12 kicks, 6 handballs. Didn't finish with a goal, but you wouldn't expect that. He doesn't kick a lot of goals, but he has finished with 7 marks, and he was important in that second half.
5 coaches for Ben Mules in his first 5 seasons, and now, lo and behold, he's had Mark Micken for 4 years straight. He doesn't know what's going on. Round 21, here's our final scores. Let's go through them quickly. North Adelaide, we know, beat Norwood on Friday night. Central's over the Panthers easily. We know the result here. Glenelg comfortably. The Eagles, though, crucial match there, beating West Adelaide by 6 goals. So a comeback victory there, and that looks like it has settled the top 5, but there's still that window of opportunity.
Very small one, but you would expect that North Adelaide will hold on to that 5th spot.
Down to the boys on the boundary of some topics for the week, and let's start, Michael, with the top 5. Is it settled? Can Westies do it? Of course, they'll need to beat North in our match of the day next week.
Don't think they can. I think we made a big call going back about 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago that the final 5 was settled. Mark, I think that's about it. I think that win today by the Eagles over West about does it for me.
Yeah, I think Westies have made some good inroads this year under Andy Collins, but no chance.
Okay, I'll bring up this. School bell rings. Jack Trengove goes to the PAC St Peter's grudge match. Is that the right thing to do to take him away from his development as a footballer?
Well, Mike, I was going to say we've seen this over many years. I think Ben Hart back at Blackfriars years and years ago, it came up. The club actually doesn't have the right. The kids are at school, and so the colleges do hold that right. So the good thing with Sturt, they have been able to negotiate with PAC to allow Jack Trengove to play most of the year, which he has since. He certainly hasn't gone back to the school since he made his debut. So this was the one game, their big Intercol game, the grudge match against St Peters, they agreed to. So I don't think it hurts too much. It's not going to hurt his draft stocks. He's been sensational when he's played.
One quick one, Mark. I just think it's a big thing for a footballer. I think we're a little bit more professional, so I tend to think that he should be able to play with Sturt. Let's change the rules.
Good thing was, though, he actually did want to go back to Jack Trengove. He didn't go back against his wishes to the school. He was keen to play that game.
And in case you're interested, of course, PAC beating Saints in the Intercol game. Much to the disappointment of myself. I did play some football with Saints, but anyway, next week, this is a crucial game. Westies against North, Saturday from the Richmond Oval on ABC1. Then Central's playing Sturt. That'll be a cracker under lights at Elizabeth. Glenelg against the Eagles on Sunday. And the Panthers travelling. No, they're not travelling. They're staying at Noarlunga, and Port's travelling to play them. The 2 sides at the bottom of the ladder. Gee, you wouldn't hear that too often. And Norwood, of course, having the bye. Rob Pyman, gee, it's a good game, but there's still a lot of work to be done by both sides.
I think so. I think for me it looks like that Glenelg have improved the most out of the 2 teams currently.
Tigers win this afternoon. We'll see you next week.